Okay.
We are live. Hello, guys. Sorry for the slight delay. We had some technical difficulties with Bree's computer hating her.
Bad.
She sounded like a robot, and we just could not go live with the robot in our
It was
ears.
bad.
It was not good. It did not sound good.
Wax needs to speak.
There is some kind of. I just noticed there is some kind of air hitting your.
Oh, that's
mic?
me.
That's
Hang on.
Okay. No, it's fine. It's not that
was
bad.
like a little bit of feedback.
It was just a little bit of like, ooh. But yes, hello. We no longer have Robot Bree, so your audio should be good.
Yes.
Let us know how we sound.
I'm on my phone, so I'm looking in all the wrong spots.
Yeah, Bree's on her phone, so.
And I'm on my phone and my computer, so I can see comments and stuff properly.
Yeah.
Just stare into the phone camera as threateningly as you can.
There it is. I had to look for like which side of my phone has the camera on it.
Yes, but while we were waiting for Bree to fix it, her like whole photo was frozen, and only her eyes would move every now and then. So it was the beginning of a horror movie.
Listen, it's fine. Sometimes you have to be a horror movie.
So I'm glad you all didn't have to see that.
Yes. Okay. I don't know how many people we have here, but
it says 3.
It says 3. Okay. There's at least 3 in the comments, I think. Okay. Well, this is the live show for both Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self. So we will talk spoilers for both of these books. There's my camera. Both of these books, but not past these books. Nothing for Bands of Mourning, please, in the comments, okay? Nothing past Shadows of Self.
And we are going to try and split up a little bit the
discussion.
Talking. So, like, if people have only read one but haven't quite finished the other, because
we'll try to just talk about Alloy of Law and then like let you guys know when we're switching into talking about Shadows, and then at the end we'll kind of just like talk in circles about all of it probably. But we'll try to stay on point.
Yes.
This is why Casey wrote us up a 32-page document, point by point chapter summaries. Literally, she summarized every single chapter of both books. I was impressed.
That's so organized.
Maybe I'll post it in the Cosmere all spoilers, because I definitely added in comments that were like,
really. Well, while you're going through it, just say the comments. Just reenact your own thoughts.
That's true. I was leaving them mostly for Bree, because I know Bree is technically.
I saw most of the ones you did for Alloy, because I read through it before you started to work on the Shadows of Self stuff.
I don't know what you're talking about. That is definitely not a Snape wig.
Here's a fun story. So I spent $30 on a wig for Wax, and then I had to cut it because it was one of those wigs that's like longer on one side. So I was like, well, I have to even it out, but I also need to make it shorter. But then I burned my hand on my straightener, my like flat iron, when I was straightening it while I was cutting it. So I immediately snipped it too short and just butchered the wig, wasted $30. And I was like, I'm not buying another wig. So this is the same wig that I used for Hero of Ages vid. And I wanted to cut it because I don't picture Wax with this long of hair, but like I was afraid I would fuck it up too. So he's just having a long hair day. It's fine.
He's got extensions to be fancy.
Yeah.
You know, Wax and his extensions. Introductions.
All right, that's how we start these.
That's how we start these.
We're
all.
It's fine. It's fine.
Casey, start us off. I'm on the bottom here. Casey, you start us off.
Okay, I will say that we were not prepared before this started, and now we're all a little flustered. So, hello, my name is Casey. I am dressed up as Wayne. I am one half of the channel that you are currently on, and then take it away, Max. I never.
Hey, I'm Max from Max Reads. Go sub to my channel. I do single book reviews, and there's lots of sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. Katrina.
Hi, I'm Katrina. I have my channel after my name is Katrina Ames. Today I am a protester from Book 2. I want shorter work days and higher pay, both in real life and in this cosplay. But I make content that is both about books and political, because we cannot separate fiction from ourselves. Nothing exists in a vacuum, and we should make the world better while reading books, because it's a lot easier than making the world better without reading books. Okay, down to Bree.
Oh yeah, that's me. Yes, over here. I'm the other half of this channel, Books Before Death. I'm cosplaying as Waxilium today, And Casey and I haven't been posting much content lately, and we apologize for that. But we're gonna come back soon. It won't just be Cosmere live shows, I promise. We've just been on a little mental health hiatus. We'll be back soon. No, God damn it!
I am Spence from the channel Sphinx Reads. I do single book reviews, tags, and I read mainly fantasy and middle grade. Also, I literally just woke up. I thought I was late. So quick story. I woke up and I was like, oh no, I didn't hear my alarm. But maybe it's 4:30. I look at my phone and it's literally 5 o'clock. But yeah, there's that.
I mean, you were still technically late, but we were also late, so it worked.
Yeah.
Right.
We paused the show because I turned into a robot briefly.
We had to wait for Bree to kill the imposter Bree.
Yeah. I went real hard on like the cosplay, we really brought the book to life here.
Yeah. Lots of murder.
Yeah. And everybody's links should be in the description. I don't remember. I'm assuming I put them in there when I scheduled this live show last month. They should be down there. So make sure you're subscribed to everybody's channels if you're not already. And yeah, like we said, we will be getting into spoilers for Alloy of Law and Shadows of Self, but nothing past that point. So please no spoilers past that point in the comments. I will kick you out.
We will kick you out.
Bold of you to assume that it'll come from the comments, but I'll try my best not to speak.
Spence is already reading Words of Radiance right now.
We can kick Spence out too. It's
Oh
fine.
yeah, for sure. We know how.
We have that power.
We know how to do that, yeah.
Imagine you woke up just in time to get here for us to kick you out of the live show.
You're like, so remember when this happened? We're like, no, wrong book, goodbye.
Bye.
Oh my.
Listen, that was an accident, Alex, but honestly, I'd do it again.
I'd do it again. Yeah. Listen, we are relentless.
This is never a problem I have. I'm just gonna say it. There's a benefit to waiting until the last minute to read the books. You can never spoil anything for anyone else.
That's
And
true.
you remember it so well.
Yeah, because you like just finished. Max was on that train today.
I was. I played myself this month.
How long ago did you finish?
I finished about 3 hours ago.
Fun story, guys. Yesterday in the Discord, Max was like, oh yeah, I'm starting Shadows of Self 3 days before the live show. And I read this message and just it didn't process in my brain. And my boyfriend's sitting next to me and he goes, isn't your live show tomorrow? I go, yeah. He goes, you should probably tell Max that. I was like, wait, what? And I went back in the Discord and I was like, all right, buddy, the live show's tomorrow. It was a good time. So Max just finished.
It's
I
a good
worked
thing.
so hard. I pulled out all the stops.
It
was
did
fun.
it. I'm
It
so
turned out
proud.
fine.
I'm so proud. We were all off this month, right? Because I read both Alloy and Shadows really early. Katrina finished before, 2 minutes ago. And then you were reading 2 minutes ago. So
What is time? I feel like time
We've
just
all-
isn't real.
swapped our habits for how we do read before the live shows. Except for Spence, who was just breezing on by. At least you're consistent.
I was also consistent. I finished yesterday, as I have been doing for the last several months.
I promise you that will not be happening in September.
Oh,
Either
it can't happen.
Either
It's
Casey
too
will finish
long.
Way of Kings early, or Casey will not finish Way of Kings.
I mean, I might finish it the day before the live show, but I will start it the first day of the month.
That's
I
true.
read Stormlight books.
What if I just challenge myself to see if I could still read it in 24 hours?
That would be a fun video, watching you lose your mind.
Ooh, I would have to take some days off work. I would die. Anyways, let's get into the discussions.
Get
Casey,
on
kick us off.
into
You've got the doc out. Kick
I
us
do
off.
have the doc out. Okay.
I like how Wayne has already had a hat change.
The Wayne has already had that change.
Casey, I don't know how many hats Casey has, but Casey said she was going to set a timer, and every time timer goes off, change your hat during the live show.
Oh, I did
So,
forget to set a timer.
Oh, you
I'm
forgot
just
to set your
watching the
timer?
clock.
nice. I'm impressed that you could just keep the time.
I know time.
Oh,
And that hat was getting really uncomfortable, so it had to go.
yeah.
Okay, yes. So, Alloy of Law starts with, we have that. I really, guys, we're not kidding when we said that I wrote a chapter by chapter outline.
Chapter by chapter. Every single
I did
chapter she wrote
that.
something for.
So,
It's great. It's pretty great.
I'll probably skip over some things, but I'm gonna just read out some stuff and then get your thoughts on that, and then we'll move on to the next thing. because we can be a little all over the place, which is a lot of fun, but I feel like this way maybe we'll be able to get our thoughts out on all of the things.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I
also
feel
for
like
Spence
you'll
who might not
remind us of
remember
stuff.
plot points, this will refresh Spence's memory as well.
Exactly.
Spence who read it 4 months ago.
That's true. That's true.
So there we go.
Okay. To begin, we start in the roughs, and I want you to know that my only comment for this entire intro prologue is, and whoops, Wax murdered his wife. What a goddamn intro. That's all I wrote.
It really kicks you off. It really does.
Yeah.
So look, sometimes you accidentally kill your wife.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes it just be like that.
Sometimes it just be like that, man. They don't call it the roughs for nothing. It's rough out there.
I don't think I was expecting there to be such a long gap, like in terms of like so many years later. It's like 17 or something.
That's in the second one.
Which was
Yeah.
How long was it in the first one?
The
I
first
think
one, it
it's
was like
5 months.
yeah, it was like I think it was like 5 or 6 months, like between
Okay.
him killing Leslie and him
I'm
like
getting,
moving
I'm
back to
getting ahead of
Elendel.
myself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're getting ahead of yourself.
This is
I'm
why
being-
Casey did this.
This is why I did this. I got
Got
all my timelines set.
Yeah.
I will also add, for anyone that ever played the game BioShock, for some reason, this time reading through the scene of when he's walking through all the corpses and stuff, it really reminded me of Sandra Cohen from BioShock, who is like an artisty guy that poses corpses in weird ways. It was like the exact same thing to me. So that was a fun thing for any BioShock people. And then
I
yeah,
also do think it's interesting that like in that like when he's like going up through that tunnel to like meet Bloody Tan when he has Leslie is like, oh, this is like the like remnants of an old Church of the Survivor. Just love that detail.
yeah.
Like, okay, I see.
And this is like 300 years after Hero of Ages, right?
Oh yeah, we
300
did get
years.
into that. Yeah,
Yes, 300 years after Hero of Ages. Actually, I think it's like 330
something.
something. Yeah, because like the year, like the date of the year is like 340 PC post Cassandra.
341.
341. Yeah, so 341 years after.
We have an exact date.
Yeah, we do.
So very dramatic. Sometimes you murdered your wife. It happens, you know. Happens to all of us sometimes.
Happens to everyone. That's a normal.
Only you, Brie. Only you. It's only happened to you.
Lassie. Fine.
Based on what I've seen from like serialized detective shows, it happens to everyone in law enforcement at least once.
Yeah.
At least once. Yeah.
It's just it's not a job you should get if you don't want to accidentally kill your spouse every now and then. You know? It's just one of the risks.
Or just don't have a spouse.
Yeah,
Just
there you go.
don't marry a cop.
Ride single.
Exactly. Yeah, and then we get into chapter 2, which is 5 months later, where we have Wax like trying to be a gentleman, and then there's like that extended romp through the mists that he does. And then by the time he gets back, his butler shames him into like putting his guns away and deciding not to be who he is, which is just a lot of fun. And then there's another time jump, which is just crazy to me. So we have like the 5 month time jump for the prologue to chapter 1, and then from chapter 2 to chapter 3, no, from chapter 1 to chapter 2, there's like a 6 month time jump. So it's been 9 months since he killed his wife. Just to let you know, I wrote that in the doc. If anyone's keeping score.
Gotta keep track.
Gotta keep track. And this is the chapter where we first meet Wayne Steris and Marisai in like a couple pages. We meet like all 3 of them.
Yep.
At the same time.
Yep.
We get to see Wax
Good
doing
old
a character. Not Wax, Wayne doing a character.
It's like
I was
Wax
looking
doesn't
at
do
you.
characters. You're looking at me. That's funny. Yes, Wayne's first character.
I feel like I instantly liked Wayne. Like straight away. I was like,
Okay.
yeah, he's instantly
Thought you would.
cool.
I think Wayne is like Casey's like one of Casey's like top Cosmere characters like of all
Is
time.
he meant to be like the weird analog of English for this universe? Because
He is.
his accent is like, it reads like they're trying to do like Cockney or something.
I think it's supposed to read like Cockney, and I think they're supposed to be like vaguely British.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were vaguely French 300 years ago. They're evolving.
It takes 300 years to go from French to British.
That's what happened
the evolution.
Yes. So,
So,
like,
It's accurate.
my thought is that Wayne, of just a young man who has absorbed all of these accents, obviously has an English accent. English being the most bastardization. Can I say that here? Of all the other languages, because it's French and German and a little bit of Spanish, and then we just kind of kept stealing from everyone else. The most English thing, really. And
True.
it just makes sense that he has an English accent to me.
If all the countries of the world had a thieves guild, it would be England.
There you go.
We're the stealers.
Just remembering how Wayne, Steris, and Marasi were introduced, I think it's really interesting how especially Marasi, how she was introduced as this like kind of timid, like quieter person, and then how much like that changes further along.
Now she's
Yeah.
the cool sister.
She's the cool sister.
She is the cool sister.
Steris is the best sister, though. So
Yeah, there you go.
Oh.
I don't know. Steris is one of my favorite Era 2 characters.
I'm still waiting for her to get cool.
oh, don't worry.
Don't worry.
And then, this is when Wayne starts to get waxed into looking into these robberies with the Vanishers. And we also get Wax praying as like a Pathian. We get some of like the religious contexty stuff happening, which I think is always interesting.
Mhm.
And the way he feels like a sense of amusement while he's praying. It's just always like ridiculous to me.
Yeah, it's like Harmony thinks this is hilarious. Oh.
Also, I wrote, and he comes to the conclusion that why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't he do both? Which, duh, you're so dramatic, Waxilium.
He's a very dramatic fellow. There's literally a line where he's like, he struck a dramatic pose, and I like that line. It literally says he struck a dramatic pose, and I was like, okay, calm down, buddy.
But the beginning of the line was, he does what came most natural to him. He struck a dramatic pose. Like, that's the beginning of the line.
God, I fucking love Wax so much.
He's a little bit of a drama queen. They all are.
He's a drama queen, and I just love it so much. Because I don't think he knows that he is. You know what I mean?
He doesn't know. He's not aware.
He's not
No,
self-aware.
he's not trying to be cool.
No. Oh,
He's trying to be cool, and he's not quite hitting it most of the time.
yeah.
Sometimes. Next we have the wedding chapters, which is like they're just really fun. This is also our Hoyd.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I
it
picked up on
doesn't-
that until you
The
told me
Hoyd
to
cameo
do
the Hoyd cameo is in the wedding chapter for anybody who missed it because he's not like pointed out by name, and it's the most vague, other than Well of Ascension. It's the most vague Hoyd cameo, I think.
Yeah, I was
because
gonna
it's
say
just
Well of
like
Ascension.
some like scruffy homeless looking man like shaking hands with like the married couple, and they're like, why is this guy here? That's Hoyd.
Listen, if you see a scruffy homeless man, just assume it's Hoyd.
It might not be Hoyd, but like the odds are pretty high.
High.
At least he was there though this time. Like Well of Ascension, it was just footprints.
He's not there. It's just like we knew he was here at some point. It's such a big.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing to differentiate his footprints from other people's footprints.
It's true. It's true.
It's not like, yes, here's Hoyd with like,
His weird like shaped feet. These gotta be Hoyd feet prints.
Is
Like no.
Hoyd a Condra?
anyway.
I will say no on that. I mean I don't know if anybody's ever asked that, but I'm gonna say no.
I'm still
don't think that's-
not convinced Hoyd is like a human.
I mean, who is a human? This is the real question.
That's true. Yeah.
Define human. Like what does it
Exactly.
mean to be a human?
Because the Scadrians are like created differently to like bear the ash. Like in Era
Oh, that's
1.
true.
They're like
That's
created
true.
differently, like bear the ash, and that's just interesting to me.
Yeah. But that was the Lord Ruler's doing. Like he changed their like biological makeup.
Maybe a human is anyone we could turn into a god given like 300 years.
Oh my. Anyone can be God if you try hard enough. Dream big, baby. Oh god.
I mean, I remember putting in our prayer requests like 2 months ago to Jessie because we wanted to make sure that she would remember us when she became God.
Oh yeah, that's so funny.
You gotta get those requests in early, just in case.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a quick question. When there was the bit at the beginning with going through the mists, I was like, with Caesar having ascended and become Harmony, why are the mists still there?
Because they're
Like, why
pretty.
do they still exist?
I don't actually know this off the top of my head.
I
Like, I know this, but I don't, like, it's not coming to my brain's a mess right now. Hang on a second. I can't look this up on my phone, so I have to do this on the computer.
Well, you type. I'm going to read one of my favorite Steris quotes, which is from the beginning of the wedding chapter. And it's just her going like, I do not make these rules, nor do I approve of them. Many are inconvenient, but it is a society in which we live. Therefore, I make myself someone that can survive in this environment. Such a...
bitch.
So good. I love her a lot.
I love her so much.
Okay, I'm really curious though. Like Max, do you like dislike Stairs or hate Stairs, or what's the verdict there?
No, she so far she has just made like zero impression on me.
Okay.
So I'm like, she hasn't done anything to make me like her, so I'm like, meh, whatever.
Okay.
But I'm ready to like her. Like, I want her to be cool.
For sure.
I like her.
I don't think there's been a single character that I've like disliked.
Okay. Gotcha.
In Era 2, I mean.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think like, I mean, even like the bad guys in Era 2 are like so much fun to read about or read from their perspective that like you still like them as characters.
Yeah, the Alloy Thor bad guy, the gold guy. Oh man, he's fucking awesome.
Miles.
Yeah, Miles.
Yeah,
100 Lives. Yeah.
Miles is so cool.
I like, and I also like that we like get POV for Miles. Like, it's not like just like some like ominous bad guy. We don't actually like, we get in his head, which is really, really nice.
I feel like there are more different POVs in this one than there have been. Or at least like they're closer together, like boom, 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 boom. Rather than like loads from one and then like loads from another.
Yeah, I agree.
I like that everyone has a cool nickname.
I do too.
Everybody has cool historical mythological titles. It's great.
Except me, I don't have one. What's Wayne's cool nickname?
Wait till Era 3 when you're dead. We'll find out.
Listen.
Wayne 100 Voices. It's right there.
That's true.
Oh my.
100 Hats.
I assume Wayne and Wax will become the cool new mythological people for the next era. So
I assume people will like look up to them as like being, because they were so fucking cool.
yeah. I mean, Wax is already cool. They call him the Wax Dawnshot, or the fuck. He's got his own title already. Dawnshot. So dramatic. Okay,
I feel like they're gonna become like historical figures that borderline on fairy tales, like kind of Billy the Kid, kind of like.
Yeah.
You know.
That makes sense to me.
I will say it's been a while since I've like loved like the entire main cast almost equally, like before I read like Alloy of Law, because like all the main characters they're just so unique to the point that they're almost cartoonish. Like you distinctly remember their personalities, but they're lovable that way. I really like all of them.
Yeah.
Yes, a fashion icon. That is I.
Okay.
He's looking at something.
Sorry, my phone is not liking running this, so I have to plug it in so it doesn't die during this live show. We're probably going to be here for a little while. So. You're fine, continue. I just have to put my charger in. Charge you from the computer.
I don't remember where I was.
We haven't gotten very far.
It's okay. I used my phone for the first few live shows, if you don't remember.
I do. I know. I was like, we were like, Spence. I couldn't get my camera to go sideways, like it was vertical, and I was like, Spence could do it. Why can't I figure it out? And I figured it out eventually. I had to like leave and come back 5 times, but it worked eventually.
Eventually, we figured it out. Okay, and then they have the giant fight in the ballroom, which is so much fun. One of my favorite things is that every time Wax like checks on Wayne, he's like gleefully leaping off of something with his dueling cane to like whack someone.
It's so great.
Just,
And, like how quickly he's moving with like his speed bubbles and stuff.
Yeah, he's like jumping around from like one thing to the next.
Yeah.
The speed bubbles are a lot of fun. I feel like we should talk about the speed bubbles for a moment.
Yeah.
How did everyone enjoy their speed bubble introductions?
Yeah, I like it. I feel like with the metal burning of the speed bubble, does that just, you can't change the rate that you slow down time by? Is it always a fixed rate?
It seems
I
to
think
be
so.
always a fixed rate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Like maybe there's some like specifically good people, or like maybe they'll learn how to do that, but as we know now, they just are like one specific.
Oh, I guess so. How like some people are like naturally way better at burning metal than other metals. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, for plot reasons.
I feel like his combination is really good as well.
Yeah.
Like he can just shut himself in a speed bubble and heal like super quick.
Yep. That's pretty
That's
great.
so good.
I fucking love Wayne.
Is the size of the sphere or the circumference of it like also constant, or does it change?
I think so. No, I think it's
Yeah,
constant.
I think his is as well.
It seems like
it's constant per person.
Yeah.
Because Marcy can make one that's like 5, like a
But
room.
she's doing the opposite. So like hers is a completely different metal. So hers is much bigger. Like she can bring so much more into hers. But Wax Wayne can't. I think it's just like set by the metal specifically.
Because it
Like
talks a couple
his
of
also
times.
burns a lot faster.
Yeah.
Like he can only hold it for so long because it's just the way the metal works.
Because it's a fast one.
It
and
talks
not
a
the slow
couple of
one.
times about
Exactly. Yes.
what were you gonna say, Max?
it talks a couple of times just about the size of it, about him having to specifically maneuver before he makes a bubble to get somebody inside it, so like, he knows exactly where it's going to be every single time.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think
very
he can change
constant.
that.
Yeah, I don't think you can change that. At least not that we've seen, that we know of. I don't know if that's something that could change, but as of right now,
if he burned Duralumin,
Oh,
how it would affect the speed bubble? Would it make it bigger or would it make it faster?
no, that's a word
this
of
is a great comment. Wayne as a video game character going to the pause menu to heal.
Yeah, it's like in Skyrim where you're like stop and then you drink like 60 potions.
Yes, exactly, 100%. But yeah, I don't know. I'm sure somebody's asked that, but I don't know the answer off the top of my head. There's so many Word of Brandons on just like mechanics of magic that we haven't seen yet, where people are like, well, what would this do? Like hypothetically, even if we never see it, and like he'll answer usually those unless it's like a specific raffle because it's something he wants to play with later down the line.
I also don't know if they can burn that metal, because normally,
or is it only Mistborns that can burn Duralumin?
I think it's only Mistborns or like Mistborns for that metal that could.
Yeah,
burn
like it would have which is kind of pointless, like as a mission, because it's like if it's your only thing.
Cheated.
Yeah.
There's a couple of metals where it's like if you're a mystic of that metal, it's like, well, I'm basically just not an Alamancer because this doesn't do anything on its own.
However, someone could kill you and take that.
That's true.
And then someone with a spike burned beryllium while making a speed bubble. That's the Sanderson question.
There we go. Maybe we'll see that.
Do we still have Mistborn in Era 2? Like Mistborn people?
There
are no more Mistborn.
Well, I will say it's never confirmed if our Lord Mistborn Spooky Boy is still around, because I thought he was dead, but it just says that he stepped down after 100 years. So who really knows? He might still be around. I don't know. It's not confirmed, but he was the only Mistborn at the end of Era 1. Like he was the only one left.
That's
why he was passed on the title like the Lord Mistborn. And the way that like the interbreeding worked, like no full Mistborns were born after that. I don't think we plan to see any full Mistborns going forward, but I don't know if that's confirmed or not.
I feel like there was
that might change.
That was.
That might change.
I have another point about metals.
Okay.
Because so with these ones, because last time I was looking at the ones at the start of every chapter.
Yes.
they did something different in this one.
Did
And
they?
instead
Are they?
of running 1 to 23, it runs 1 to 16, and then 1 with Duralumin, 2 with Duralumin, 3 with Duralumin.
Oh, interesting.
And I don't know why there are less metals included in Era 2 in the chapter symbols.
I mean, Era 2 so far has been very focused on 16. I feel like even more so than like...
Yeah. There's like that line that like the law of 16 holds like so true or whatever. And I'm like, I didn't remember that was like such a thing. Because obviously it's like, it's a thing in Era 1. It's like a very subtle, huge plot point, foreshadowing thing in Era 1. It's like 16 is repeated over again. It's because of this. And you're supposed to figure it out. But I didn't think that was going to carry over. But the amount of times 16 pops up randomly in Era 2, I've tabbed all of them. It's like the number 16. So that doesn't surprise me that they only showed the 16 metals.
Yeah, like it might be connected to that for some reason. We'll never know.
Do we, not you and Casey, do we know the significance of the rule of 16 yet?
Well,
No.
I mean, like the original thing with 16 was that preservation was putting that like over and over again in Era 1. Because it was like 16% of the people who were getting killed by the mist, and it was 16% of that, 16% of that, and they all ended up being like the adium mistings and stuff like that. It was clues that he was leaving, and like I remember, like I don't know, like how deeply it actually explains it in the text, but
I think it
was
says, like it's a universal
it's not like
truth.
Yeah, it's like
it's a truth universally acknowledged that there are 16 metals.
16.
So it's like a holy number, like 3, 7, 4 is and stuff.
Yeah. The thing is, the number 16 is always going to be like a relevant thing in Mistborn. Like we know that because it was forelaid very early on in Era 1, and it's just like a thing with like within that magic system. So I don't know like how much that carries over into Era 2, other than the fact that just the word 16 pops up, or like what it means now, because like we knew what it meant in Era 1. It was like, oh, it was all these clues that preservation was trying to leave for the people to figure out. This is how to fight. I'm giving you more allomancers. I'm snapping people. Like it was not very explained because preservation was dying, but he was doing his best. But yes, like I don't really know what it means right now. I'm not gonna lie to you, but it's definitely carried over.
Isn't Wax like the 16th?
Wax is the 16th Lord of House Ladrian. He lives at 16 Ladrian Place. I was like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing here. Those two really struck me, but then it just like pops up a lot, just like in random like conversation. It'll be like, oh yeah, this is the 16 this and 16 that. I'm like, I see you.
I brought it up because at the wedding when they pause in that speed bubble and Wayne asks Wax how many guys he's taken out so far, he
16.
says
It's like it's everywhere if you pay attention. And so I'm like, it's like more like here than it was in Era 1, because in Era 1, like you don't really get that until like they're really at the end of the line in book 3 in Hero of Ages, when they're like trying to put the statistics of the people snapping together, and that's like the only time you're really seeing that come up over and over again. And so it's just like the word is just everywhere, these books. So
I wonder if Sanderson has read the Dark Tower books. Because
I'm sure he has.
In Dark Tower, you have 19 that recurs the whole way through Dark Tower, and all Stephen King's books as well. You have 19, 19, 19, 19, and it just pops up everywhere the same way.
Yeah, I'm sure he has. I'm sure he's read probably most of Stephen King.
Yeah, that seems like something he would like.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go back to my weird document now. Wayne getting shot and then just lying still as the other guy stands over him with a gun must be so hard to do. Like every time he does it, when he just lays there shot on the ground, I'm always like, that must be so hard to not like move or to start healing himself or whatever else. However, I also like, this is the first time it happens, but it happens consistently throughout these 2 books, where they're in the middle of imminent danger and they're in a speed bubble and Wax and Wayne are just bickering.
Just like joking around like this is just a regular Tuesday. I love it, honestly. Like their dynamic is so good.
So good.
It's so good.
Do you think like Miles, but to a lesser degree, Wayne has got like mad pain tolerance from having gold?
Oh yeah.
He's gotta.
He has to.
Like, I hope so.
Yeah, but also he's a baby whenever he's sick, so I feel like it balances out.
That's
Exactly. And then we have Marisai coming over to talk to Wax, and he's wearing a pair of very silly goggles the whole time they're talking, just to let you know they're having very serious discussions. He has a pair of very silly goggles on his head the whole time.
Yep.
So how did everyone feel about like Wax and Marasi's like relationship dynamic at the beginning of Alloy?
I
I mean,
was
the her like having this huge like idealized crush on him.
Yeah.
That thing. I mean,
meh.
I don't know. Like,
I was very meh about it. I was like,
I mean, like it feels realistic because she's like to
It does
him,
feel
he's like a fictional person come to life. Like she's been studying him and like all the myths
Yeah.
about him and all that stuff. So like it makes sense. But also just like I like the fact that he's like I mean like yeah, she's beautiful and smart and like, you know, she's got a great shot and all these things would intrigue me, but now I just am giving it a passing thought and like he genuinely is not, he doesn't really care. Like he doesn't really, it's like all on her side.
Yeah, I feel like as
Like
well.
I feel like it's handled okay.
Yeah, you don't have to always have a spark or a crush resolve into something, and I
Exactly.
feel like it's almost better that he didn't. Like
Yeah.
you can have like, oh, we're attracted, but like that's it.
Yeah,
Like we just get
exactly.
on with our jobs. You know what I mean?
I love that. Yeah.
I think it was handled well.
Yeah.
I also appreciate that Wax acknowledged the like difference in power as like the dynamic,
Yes.
not just in
Yes.
like station in life but age. Because yeah, if this worked out, it'd be a little bit crazy.
Yeah.
40-year-old men should not be hitting up college students.
Yeah, I
It's-
think he knew it was like slightly inappropriate.
Even though his ancestor definitely did that.
It's a growth.
If we remember where he came from,
It's genetic.
it's genetic. Oh god.
it's genetic. It's okay. I can date someone at my age. It's in my genetics. Oh Christ. No, yeah. But I like how it was resolved. I like how it's like it makes sense from her part to like just immediately like be like, oh, like in awe of him because like obviously she's like been idolizing him before meeting him. But then it just
Yeah.
kind of like calms down and he's like, yeah, of course she's beautiful and she's great and she's smart, but like I'm not gonna get into that right now. Like, you know,
He's
like
like,
I
I got
can't.
bigger problems. My
He's like,
butler
I
blew me
can't.
up.
Yeah, and like he just my butler blew me up. Like, it's I like how it's handled. It's not like a proper like you know romance that just doesn't like it doesn't even go in that direction. It's just like a hinted at thing. Like yeah, these people potentially could have feelings for each other, but they're not exploring it, and that's fine.
Yeah, ironically,
And I like
one of
it.
my notes for chapter 9 is Wax demystifying himself for Marisai, or trying to. I don't care. IDK if it works like he intended to. Like, he actively is trying to be like, no, I'm just a person.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it's more of a hero crush on her side.
It
than, like, an
absolutely is,
actual
yeah.
crush. It's
Yeah.
very like,
The amount of times in her point of view, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm talking to a legend. Like he's a legend," and like all this stuff. You know, like it's definitely
Yeah.
like she's like
It's like an
idolizing him as,
infatuation.
like exactly, yeah. It's like a celebrity crush where it's like you don't actually know this person enough to like have proper feelings. Like obviously she gets to know him, but like by the point she does, like that's when that starts to kind of come back down.
by the point she
Right.
gets to know him, she wants to strangle him, as everyone does.
Everyone does, yeah, exactly. She's a smart bitch. She knows what's up. Oh, I love her. That change.
Nothing happened. But yeah, this is like also when they're in that room and the butler tries to kill him, and then they're once again in a bubble bickering as they almost die. As like Marisai's like, guys, the bubble's getting bigger, and Wax is like, shut up, we're not like stop, it's just like slowing down time. And then he's like arguing with Wayne with like his hands on his hips, and I'm like, guys,
Yeah.
it's like, ugh, Wayne.
Hey Josh, welcome to the party.
Hello, thank you. We also have the very gnarly scene where Wayne is healing, and then Wax like tears the burned skin off his back.
Ugh.
It's so
So
gross.
So
I bet
gross.
that is like so satisfying for Wax to do.
Uh,
Like you know, you peel glue off your hand.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
bet
in
it is
school.
too.
Just like,
But it's not blue, it's burned skin. It's
But it came off all in one piece.
I want to
so-
see that
do
in
something
an
with it.
adaptation.
Yeah,
Oh,
me too.
God. I mean,
Definitely.
yeah. Ugh.
I just wonder how often this happens to them. That they're so practiced.
That he's just like, yeah, okay, I got this. Hang on, you don't want to look at this. I'm gonna pull his skin off. Like, he was prepared. Oh
I
my.
mean, it's them. I'm sure it happens like every Tuesday.
Exactly. Every Tuesday.
We also, for chapter 10, I just wrote a little more city touring because there's multiple times when they're just in a carriage looking out the window, giving you like a miniature tour of the city.
Yeah.
I feel like during those bits there was a heck of a lot of name dropping Era 1 stuff.
It's because everything's
during
named
the city
after
tour
Era
stuff.
1 characters,
Yeah.
which is nice, and it makes my heart full.
Yeah,
But
there's
yeah.
like the very first one, he's going down like Dachshund Boulevard or something, and then
Yeah.
like
Yeah. There's like Tyndall Promenade, and
Mhm.
there's like an actual city, I think, called like Doxanar or something like that. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff.
the first time we hear about Wayne's backstory about how Wax ended up adopting him. As you
Yeah.
do. Listen, you
Sometimes-
adopted me.
Sometimes I did adopt you. Sometimes you have to adopt a stupid kid who accidentally kills someone.
In my head, by the way, they're like, I'm pretty sure it's confirmed they're only like less than 10 years apart. And I think they're like probably like 6 to 8 years apart.
Hmm.
So like there's not like a big age gap between Wax and Wayne, but Wax
I think
definitely
it's
adopted that child.
Yeah, I think it's like 8 to 10 years.
Because Wax
Because
is
like Wax is like 40.
mid-40s.
He's like 42, I think,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Wayne is like early 30s. So yeah.
You just adopted a teenager at 25, like you're supposed to do.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
fine.
And then we get the first Miles point of view, which we already talked about. But there is an interesting quote here where Miles says to Mr. Suits, which is the stupidest
Yeah, it's a
moniker.
dumb name.
It's not a good one. But he says about Wax that he is one of the finest men this world has known. And I was like, the drama.
He's like, and now I have to kill him.
Yeah, the whole of Era 2 is pretty cinematic. Like, even just, like, the fact that it was the butler who, like, betrayed Wax. It's, like, so
The
cinematic.
butler did it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially because Wayne
It's just
steals
so
the
fun.
tea and is like, your tea's poisoned, and then they all like turn to the butler.
Yeah. Yep.
These would make such good movies. Like such
Honestly.
good movies.
Honestly, right.
Yeah.
Especially the fight scenes. They were really
especially
good.
the fight scenes.
Especially Miles. I really want to see him like cinematically done, like getting shot in the head and like immediately like
Yes.
feeling it
yeah.
back.
Yes.
Especially the fight scene like on the train.
Yeah.
Oh, that one was so good.
You gotta love a good train fight in these books.
I like the fact that when they fight Miles, his clothes just disintegrate until he's eventually naked.
Yes.
I mean, it makes sense because his
It does
clothes
make
It's
don't
sense.
heal.
realistic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
exactly.
just so funny every time.
It's pretty great. It's pretty great.
He must have that top tier body confidence.
I mean, he's unkillable basically, until you kill him. So
Everyone's unkillable till you kill him.
I know. Listen, I'm dressed as Wayne. I have to say something.
Yes.
We also meet Renette.
Oh, Renette.
Love Renette.
She's such like a ridiculous, over the top character.
I hope she has a bigger role going forward.
I have to say,
Bree and I are just.
I'm also trying. Well, okay, I already started my reread of Bands, so my like I did not remember Shadows and Bands at all because I think I've only read them both once,
shame.
and so I'm trying to remember because I honestly don't remember how much if she is or isn't in Bands.
I
I assume
remember.
she is, but I just don't remember how much. Like I genuinely don't. But
Ben's
also the
just in the
series is
corner
over,
like,
so
I
even
remember.
if she's not, she still could be because we got one more book coming. So
I mean, one more book coming.
True.
Because at the moment she's literally just like the quartermaster, right? Just
Literally.
giving them gadgets.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Which is great. She does it wonderfully.
Yeah.
she does.
Renette is Inspector Gadget.
Inspector Gadget Renette.
We'll go gadget arm.
Go gadget
I
Glock.
just say go gadget arm.
Wow.
There's
Oh, I
also-
like that the rounds she gives them are called haze killers as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
It's
really
like such a
cool.
good throwback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a good, just good throwback. We also meet Vindication, the gun, who is like its own character.
God, the first time I read that, I was like so emotional. It was like, after the Ascendant War, my child. Like, I get so emo over all of the references. That's one of the things that I tabbed for in the books, because like I had a color tab that I didn't have anything to like transfer it over to Era 2. So I was like, what am I going to use this color for? And I was like, I think Sela was the one who joked, was like, just tab all the Era 1 references. And I was like, brilliant, I'm doing it. So there's
Done.
a lot of those tabs, way more than I realized. I knew there was a lot in Alloy because it's like fan service at that point, but it just kind of continues on, like, because it is their history, so like it makes sense, but it's laid on a little thick.
It's also their religion.
For us.
It's all of
it's their history, their religions, the words founding, all that. It's great.
Like everything.
Yes, the way the different combinations work is so great. And we haven't even like there's the amount of combinations there can be, and we've only seen like very few. I just like I want all. I want to see them all.
Yeah, I love Wax using his weight in that fight with Miles, because Miles is not prepared for it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it really like throws him off. It's so good.
Yeah. And I like that we just get more like leaning into the fear-chemical powers in this series, because you don't get that much of that in Era 1. It's like the only time you really see it is with like Sazed using it, and a lot of times he's not using like all of it. He's using like the copper mines and things like that to like look up stuff, and he's not really using every ability that he had. And so getting to see those kind of in play in the Twinborn is really cool. I enjoy that.
There's also a quote from Miles where he's just thinking about things, and he goes, "How long before men take to the skies, as the words of founding say, is possible?"
Yeah, word of founding say a lot.
They say a lot of shit.
They imply a lot of things.
Yeah, so I'm just excited about that. There's nothing else to say about it. I'm just excited as a human.
One thing I thought was really interesting about Miles was that when he burned gold, he saw himself.
Mm-hmm.
And like I feel like we still don't fully know what that means.
No,
he says even then, like, they don't know what it means.
Like we never figured that, like, properly figured out in Era 1, and even when he's doing it and you're like in his point of view, he's still like, we really don't know what this means. Like, it's great.
He just does it every now and then for funsies.
Just for funsies. I assume we'll eventually get like proper explanations on what the fuck's happening there.
I feel like when we do, it's gonna blow our minds.
Yeah. I don't think.
As of right now, we don't know.
I don't think we have like a proper confirmation, but I'd have to look.
The whole chapter where they're trying to get Wax onto the train, and Wayne is doing like the old woman character, and then the guard character, and then the other guard character. It's like the quick changes in the speed bubbles are just so much fun.
Yeah, and it's so good, like, getting to see that from his point of view, like, while he's doing all of the speed bubble stuff and changing costumes and getting into character, just, like, back to back to back. Like, it's so interesting.
And also the way he thinks in character.
Yeah, his internal monologue totally changes.
He gets into it. Like, he properly, cool. like is the character, and it's so fascinating.
He's a method actor.
Method actor, yeah. He's so much fun.
I will say that...
Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, you go.
No, okay. No, the way that I remember that scene, and I love that whole scene, and I would use that whole montage of Wayne like switching characters as another argument that Brandon Sanderson is not a terrible writer, because that whole scene was so good.
Yeah. It's so good. Like it's so good. Like there's nothing in that whole like montage I didn't enjoy.
I don't know who's saying he's a terrible writer, but I will fight them.
I know, right? I get so mad.
This man is one of like the biggest names.
You can say you don't like his writing, but to say that you think he's a bad writer is just wrong. Like you don't have to like his style. It's just incorrect.
One of the biggest names in high fantasy right now.
Literally, like he's like one of the top sellers right now. Like top 5.
What else is happening?
Oh yeah, that's the true thing. We didn't mention that. The people who are getting like married at the wedding are like people like Sanderson knows in real life. Like he put their names in. So I was telling you that in the Discord. Like he'll put a lot of like names of people he properly knows just randomly thrown in. I think like a lot of the nobles in Era 1, like a lot of the noble names were just people like he knew, or like beta readers and stuff like that. Like he just throws names in all the time. Oh. But yeah, it was like 2 people who met like through the fandom and got married, and so that's why he put them in there. That's like a homage to them.
If you get your name put in a book, you're basically immortal.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
the only reason I want to be a beta reader for Sanderson is just get to be a character in the book. Because there's some who like become proper characters, and some I won't say who or where or when, but yeah. Which one of his friends was like, I hope that was nobody. Imagine like being one of Sanderson's friends and then you get named after like the evil guy, the bad guy, the shitty dad.
I would want to be
are you
like,
trying to tell me something?
I would want to be an Era 2 villain because they're fun.
They're so
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
fun, yeah. No, actually, the Era 2 villains are just proper cool. Like,
Yeah, they are.
they're so cool.
What else? Oh, there's a moment where Clamps, one of the random guys with Miles, is a survivorist.
Yeah,
That's hard to
survivorist.
say. And there's a comment about how he has scars all over him and that they're self-inflicted because of his religion, like as a
He's
way
like-
of showing devotion.
And I literally,
And
I
every
wrote
time
down,
I read
I wrote
it, I'm
down,
like-
yikes. I was like, I don't think that's what Kelsier wanted. Like, I don't
I'm
think
like-
that's the kind of devotion he was looking to spark, but okay.
That's
do
just a
you,
throwaway
bro.
line that's in this book. Just
Yeah,
so
I
you know.
literally, in mine, I wrote down the yikes and all big caps. I was like, wow.
I was like, that
Okay.
doesn't seem great. It's just so unsettling.
It's so unsettling. I hope like that's the first time we've seen like a survivorist do that, but I hope like that's not like a common thing in the religion.
Right.
I hope so. Not.
I don't think even Demo was that like radical.
Yeah, like that fanatical. And Demo was pretty fanatical in Era 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but I also think that Demo knew him. You know,
That's true. Like personally.
he knew like Kelsier then went back and destroys those places so no one could have those scars again.
That's true. 300
Wait.
years later, and people are just like, that guy was cool and he had scars. I'm gonna give me some scars.
But like, we made a lot of poor decisions in the world based on people that lived a long time ago that we didn't
Yeah.
know. Whereas if people we knew now did that, we would yell at them for being dumb.
That change.
Change.
Also,
And
yeah,
then-
the accent thing, I just imagine that is probably hard for Michael Kramer trying to like pin it down, especially when it shifts, like with Wayne and stuff. I've not listened to the audiobook, so I can't comment on that, but I imagine it's fun.
Does he sound Cockney as like Wayne? Because I also realize I don't think I've listened to
Oh
them.
yeah, good question.
Like he should. I feel like he should.
Yeah.
Also the most badass moment ever in a book where Miles fucking blows himself up just to get out of a net. He's just holding
Yes.
dynamite in his hand.
He's like, this is fine. I got this. I'll be right back.
Every time I read it, I'm like, dude, you gotta chill at some point.
I know. Miles is so intense.
We actually get to see like Wayne's fighting through the speed bubbles, like how he does it, and I always
POV.
think that's so much fun and so well done. Like
Yeah.
so many of the fight scenes are so cool, but I really like the speed bubble hopping.
Yeah.
Me too.
I also wrote a thing about how Wax is like broken on the ground and bloody and has a concussion and is speaking to Harmony, but like at least he's got his cool guns and his yeehaw mist cloak back.
Right? Also, that moment when he's talking to Harmony is just so fucking surreal. Like, I love it. Like, as a reader, you're like, yes, Says, he's God. We knew this. But, like, he's like, is God talking to me?
Good.
Yes, good.
Okay, but the
information.
yeehaw mist cloak. We have not talked about that yet.
Oh, yeah. The fact that, like, the mist cloaks from Era 1 have transformed into mist coats. And it's, like, a coat with just the tassels.
Oh, I have
From, like,
mixed
waist-
feelings on this. You know, I have mixed feelings on this.
It's ridiculous.
I love it. I love it that it's like, evolved. And
I
it's
liked
still a
it
thing.
because I had this really cool image of them in my head, but then on one of the broadsheets, there's an illustration of a mist coat, and it's like it
Oh,
looks
is
so
it the
terrible.
one? Is it the one on like a picture of like Alamancer Jack, like one of the Alamancer Jack stories?
I have
think?
no idea. No
You
idea.
should
I think
draw
it's
what
one
you
of the
think it
Alan
looks
Jack.
like.
I feel like, do you know if I said like a highwayman coat,
Yeah.
like with the big collar that comes up
Yeah.
to like here,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that kind of thing?
Yeah,
Wax would love the drama of that kind of thing.
Hell, right?
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. No, I picture it looking very dramatic as well.
Yeah, I
'Cause,
don't
what's the
always
point if it's
follow
not dramatic?
the official art for how things look. So
Yeah.
No.
I mean, that's also not. I wouldn't say official art. That's like a cartoonized version in world that somebody drew. You know what I mean? Like
That's
it's not
true.
like a realistic like. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
it's like meant to be because it's in a newspaper.
I just
It
opened up
looks
to it.
terrible.
They have tassels on the
And
arm.
the one in the second book as well, it looks really bad.
But yeah, I think those is that for the Elemental Jack stories, Casey?
Yeah.
That are in the broadsheets? Because I think that's maybe meant to look more silly because it's Elemental Jack.
Yeah.
But I tell you what,
So,
it
that makes
does
sense.
say that the tassels on the bottom start at the bottom of your rib cage, like lower
Yeah.
rib cage level. So we know where the pockets are on these ones.
We know where the pockets are. And he's like, yes! Max and I got a little excited there.
I got real excited.
Had some real questions about pockets in Era 1. Okay.
We still don't know where
Apparently
they
Miss
are.
Cloaks had pockets,
way.
but I'm like, fucking where? Okay? Somebody, I'm still confused. But at least in Era 2, we know where the pockets are. It matters. It's important.
It is important because like he has so many things on him at all times.
Right.
So many,
12 guns.
at least.
At least.
Whereas Vin just kept everything up her bum, like there was nowhere else to put stuff.
Well, she had a woman's miscloak, so.
That's true. We've evolved now, apparently, in Era 2 for pockets.
Yeah.
I feel like that's the reason the coats evolved, because they were like, there are no pockets on a mist cloak. We need
Can't
pockets.
deal with this shiny pockets. How did they deal with this?
I mean, I always assumed it was like capelet length, so there were pockets up here. But like,
Yeah.
how much shit can you really fit in like
Yeah.
this?
Yeah, like the
space?
original Mist
Not
Cloaks,
a
like
lot.
they like have like cloth, like the tassels start like lower, at least in all of the like art. They don't start like straight up here. There's like a little bit of a cable thing, but still, like how would that even be a functioning pocket? Like just get up in my little, you know what I mean? Like it doesn't make sense.
There's
And
a
it
bit
can't be
in
in the
Era 1.
tassels.
There's a bit in Era 1 where it says that she pulls a dagger out of her mist cloak. And it's like,
In a pocket, in like.
where's the dagger?
I don't know. Yeah, there's multiple times her cloak pockets are mentioned, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I need answers. It'll haunt me forever. I'm telling you. Yeah.
It would have made so much sense if they just said like she had a utility belt on with like
Right?
a
Like
bunch
just
of stuff in it.
give that bitch a fanny pack.
What I'm going to do, if I ever get the chance to meet Brandon Sanderson, I'm going to get a big piece of card and draw like 20 different versions of a mist coat and just hand him a red
Which
pen
one?
and be like, please mark where the pockets are.
I think that would be the funniest thing. Like, I think he would fucking love that. Like, I think he would think that was
He would be
hilarious.
into that, yeah.
He would be so into it. He would be so amused. Everybody would get a kick out of that. It has to happen. Just tell me where the pockets are.
The pockets.
I'm still waiting for someone because I was like frustrated with this in Era 1, but I did not bring it up because like no one else was. But I'm like still waiting for someone's like the tassels to get tangled somewhere because they never get tangled for some reason. They're just flying around but never like turn to spaghetti.
Yeah, yeah. And they always just like look beautiful. They're always just flowing by. I'm like,
Right?
really?
Impossible.
I really want to see in Era 3 of like a person with a mist cloak flying by a window and you just hear like screaming as they go.
Yeah.
What do you think is going to be the next evolution? So it's like
Okay, hang on.
cloak
Wait, before we
to
talk
cloak.
about this, there's a meme, and I put it in the memes folder for this live show. So I will show you what the jokes
Okay.
are about the Era 3 Mistcloak evolution, and then we'll talk about it
yeah.
again when we see that meme, because I had to like search for it specifically because I've seen it before, and it brings me true joy, and you're gonna love it. I don't actually think it's what the evolution is gonna be, but it's just fucking hilarious. So
I think the tassels are gonna get braided.
But then they wouldn't fly. You gotta have to
Well,
Yeah, but
I think.
they're just
Yeah, Spence, you go.
no. I just think that they're just gonna be like thicker, but they're still gonna fly.
right.
You only need 3 for a braid, at least.
I don't know. I don't know.
See,
I don't
my
like. I don't even
thought
know.
is that in Era 2, they're fringe because it's a Western. So in Era 3, I think it's going to be the same thing, but synthetic fabric.
There you go.
Like PVC.
Yes. Yes.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
God, I'm so excited for Era 3. We gotta finish Era 2 first, but I'm so excited for Era 3. We'll see.
braid
In
the
the
wings.
wings of
I just feel like it would add less drama. I feel like that's the only reason the Mistborns and the Mistings wear the Mistcloaks is because it adds drama.
Yeah.
There's no other reason to wear them.
No. I mean, like in Era 1, it was like a whole thing where it's like, oh, like, you know, if somebody sees like a noble, like the most Mistborn were like noble people, and it was like if you see like a Mistborn out in the streets, like the cloak signified like you don't mess with them, like that's like some noble person doing their thing. So like there was significance in like society for it, but now it's just like this is cool and we're gonna keep it, we're gonna do our own thing with it and make it look however we want.
Even in Era 1, like if they just had suits on, they would have assumed they were noblemen and not messed with them.
Yeah, but like that's not as cool when you're flying through the
It's the drama. It's only for the drama.
It is for the drama, but still, it was like a significant thing to know that person was like a noble Mistborn from a noble house.
Yeah.
Like just any random person walking at night in a fancy suit doesn't necessarily mean they're a Mistborn. Like that was the thing, not just that they were noble.
Everyone in a fancy suit.
If you see someone in a mist cloak, no, you didn't.
Exactly, that was the whole point of it. It was like turn around, walk the other way. You didn't see nothing.
Or you're gonna die in 5 seconds.
Exactly. Like there was point to it. Like it's flimsy, but it was still a point to it.
Just watch as in Era 4, the mist cloaks are going to be made of lace and fishnets. Totally transparent.
Oh my god. I can't even imagine what like Era 4 is going to look like. I mean, I guess we have to see Era 3 first, but...
They're gonna
Oh,
take
if Era 4 is set in space, it could be holographic.
Yeah, right?
Oh my gosh.
Because yeah, Era 4
True.
is supposed to be like the space age, space opera time. And Era 3 is supposed to be more like 80s style, like tech level stuff, so...
Imagine like a flickering holographic mist cloak.
Yes. You won't miss that.
It could blow in the wind even if there was no wind.
I love that.
Katrina's like, I'm judging this fashion choice.
I judge a lot of their fashion choices.
Honestly, it's true.
But I love
it's true.
them.
All right, let's move on from the Miss Cloak thing.
Okay,
and
yeah.
Get back to the plot discussion.
Okay,
We
so
spent like 20 minutes on that.
we're at the
We'll
very
circle back.
end of Alloy too.
Yes, yeah,
Okay,
we're about to get
okay.
into shadows.
So there's like a whole monologue, the like evil thing of evil that Miles does at the end about how like I don't care about the survivor's mandate. I found something better. And that's terrifying. So like the whole thing that like Miles has like found something better to follow, and there's very brief allusions to Trell already.
Mm.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
And then Wax thinking about how if Miles had been born back then, he'd have been a hero. Like back
Yeah.
in the
It's
Final
really
Empire.
interesting when they have that conversation. He's like, like what would you do? Like, he would have been a hero, but like who would Wax have been in that time? Like how would he have looked at the heroes of Era 1? Because he's like such a like law and justice, like
Yeah.
exactly. It's such an interesting conversation.
So Trell was already introduced in Alloy of Law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just like a one-line thing, though.
There was,
Okay.
Technically, no. I think in almost every single Miles point of view, it's mentioned
there's like
or
there's-
alluded to,
Yeah.
but it's not like named by like. Hang on, I tabbed all of them.
It's dropped by name at least twice. From
Okay.
Miles.
Yeah, he says at one point he's like, this is like 188 pages in. He's like, and Trell help me if I'm wrong. Why had Trell made men like him, if not to see wrongs righted?
That's right.
The words of founding had even included a lengthy explanation of Trellism and its teachings, which proved men like Miles were special. So that tells you, if you forgot, this is a religion from Era 1, one of the ones that Sayes used to teach.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So you think
And then-
it's like something from before Ruin and Preservation ever got there? Maybe.
Yeah, there's like another mention of Trell on page 242.
Yeah, who knows?
And then he found something better, something more true. It doesn't actually say Trell that time, but it's alluding to Trell. And then, of course, at the very end,
I don't
he
think
actually says the name.
Yeah.
He actually says
I didn't realize it was that early that Trell was introduced, but that's cool.
I mean, technically, Trell was introduced in book 1 of Final Empire. The word
Yeah,
Trell.
you learn Trellism in book 1.
Yes.
Hmm.
It's one of the religions. Actually, but I think back then it was called Trelligism, like the actual religion, like it has a G in it. But it's the same thing. And it's the religion that like focuses on like the difference between like night and day and things like that.
Yeah, I remember
It's
that.
I think it's actually the very first one, I believe, that Sayes preaches to Vin
Yeah.
in Final Empire. And obviously it comes up again in like Hero of Ages when he's going over all of the religions as he's ascending and stuff. And when he's like going through them to like prove them right and wrong, like it comes up a couple more times in Era 1, but it's so vague. That's why multiple times in the trivia for Era 1, I was like, let's talk about the religions. Do you remember any religions? Here's a religion. Because that name is back. So that name is back. Trell.
And then we have the very end where there's like a moment where they're like wrapping everything up with the constables or whatever, and like the governor guy comes over, or I don't know who it is, some guy in power comes over, and they're like, he seems like a totally different man. It was so weird, and I was like, okay, that is a contra.
Yeah.
I'm pretty
Totally.
sure. Listen, also, we missed this camo.
Camo mist cloaks. Oh my.
I don't know how
Oh.
how we didn't think of that.
That's true. We missed an opportunity. Oh
And
my.
Just like neon yellow mist cloaks.
very 80s. That's true.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Oh, and then obviously the epilogue, we get to see an old friend. We get to see a little Marsh.
Marsh.
Good old Iron Eyes. Yeah. Marsh still
Hanging
around
around.
and kicking. Just I like that like obviously like he's still called Iron Eyes. And I know there were like I don't remember who, but people in the Discord were like, who is this is this supposed to be Marsh? Like all questioning. I'm like, that was Marsh's nickname before he was an Inquisitor. They called him Iron Eyes. So that should tell you. And he was the only one left alive at the end of Era 1. I don't think he actually confirmed that he's alive at the end of Era 1, but we don't see him die at the end of Era 1. So he's still kicking, still doing stuff, lurking in the shadows. They call him Death.
It's so fun.
Pink camo mist cloaks.
There we go.
The pink camo specifically.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
90s.
You know what's up, Jesse. You know what's up.
The one thing with Marsh is like, how do people not notice him? Like,
Yeah.
where is
Right.
he hiding? That people
Like-
are like 7 foot
like-
tall
Because
Inquisitor.
like people
man.
like curse by him. They're like they literally talk about him like he's a fucking Grim Reaper, right? So like, but like a lot of people don't actually think he's like a real person walking around right now. It sounds like. But I mean, he is. So
I mean,
like,
there's-
what's he doing?
There's like a broadsheet. One of the broadsheets says like Iron Eye sightings are up, but like
Yeah. Even then, it sounds like he's fucking Bigfoot to like the
Yeah,
society.
like-
Like, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, is he real or not? You know what I mean? Like, it's just so funny to me. But it's like, how is he actually like properly just not like so well known that people know that he's like a real person?
he's just
ish.
hanging out in a cave somewhere.
Oh yeah. Also, when we were talking earlier about if there were any Mistborns left, I mean, last we knew, Marsh had all the powers, so I guess he still counts as a full Mistborn, alongside potential alive or not live Lord Mistborn Spook.
What about Inquisitors? We don't have any more Inquisitors, right?
No,
Aside from
just
Marsh.
No,
Just Marsh. just
They're
Mr.
all dead.
Marsh. All dead. Yeah.
And Colossus. Do we have Colossus? I don't remember.
We
Yeah.
do have
it's
Colossus.
talked about.
Right.
There's a whole thing. Yeah. Okay. So I will. Since you brought that up, I'll go ahead and answer this question that Max had in the Discord about who's fucking Colossus, because it talks
Monster
about like
fuckers.
Colossus blooded people. So actually, I didn't remember the mechanics off the top of my head. So I looked up the word of Brandon's, and it's basically like when Say's descended, he changed the way that like Colossus work. So like he didn't just like eliminate them because like they were people. So like he made it so that they can breed with each other, and when
Oh,
they
that's
breed
right.
when they breed with each other, like it basically is like a human is born, and then that human can then grow up in that society, like in those tribes, and choose to take the spikes and become a full-blooded Colossus, or it's just Colossus-blooded human. And like people can
Okay.
also, like a regular person could also go to the tribe and be like, hey, I want to be a Colossus, give me some spikes, like, and just choose to become a Colossus, apparently. So like that's how they're made now, is like they can breed with each other, and then that person can grow up and choose to like go into human society or go into Colossus society and become a full-blooded
Okay.
Colossus.
So it's,
So, yeah.
it's not like there are different degrees of Colossus you can be. You either are or you
Yeah,
aren't.
yeah, exactly. Like you can be a Colossus-blooded human, and like those people, like I think we see one at one point, and it's like he's got like tougher skin, he's a little bit bigger, but he's not
Yeah.
like a blue monster. You know what I mean? He's not like a big blue ripped skin person. So it's like there's signs of it in the bloodline, but it's like he's not a proper full Colossus yet because he didn't
Yeah,
take the
they're-
spikes.
They're almost just like pewter arms, like the Colossus.
Yeah.
They're very
Yeah, like sounds like they're just a bit stronger, a bit tougher. Yeah, maybe not like
So
full
there's
spectrum,
so there's
but-
no monster fuckers there.
I know. I didn't want to
You
let
don't
you
know.
down. I mean, there might be. I mean, it's. I don't think
never
it was actually just
said
yeah.
otherwise.
Yeah, just the actual the explanation behind the Colossus-blooded people is that the Colossus breed with each other. I don't know if I mean, maybe. I mean, if you're a person and you go to the Colossus tribe and you're like, hey, make me a Colossus, and you become a Colossus, but you were a person first, and then you fuck a Colossus, are you a monster fucker? I mean,
guess
you know what I
you
mean?
are.
I think if you're a person going to Colossus tribes asking to become a Colossus, you probably got some weird shit going on inside. Okay.
But also, aren't technically when they become Colossus, don't they technically like die and become a different like person?
Listen,
the
you know what?
Like,
Well, I think Say's like changed the way it all works though. So like I think that because like remember like with humans specifically, like he retained some of his like human sense, like in Era 1, like that's why he was a little more different than the other Colossus. Yeah, they have like a
okay.
grayish tint to their skin
Yeah.
too as well. Monster fucking is what you missed. I'm sorry. You missed the monster fucking conversation.
We're gonna come back to that at the end.
We'll come back to it.
Listen, you said that message in the chat, and my brain was immediately like, there are monster fuckers in every world. And I was like, I can't say that in Discord.
Casey literally messaged me, was like, can I say that in the live show? And I was like, well, that's technically not correct, but yeah, you can say it. Like, so there's your explanation for that, because I didn't come into the Discord and tell you, I don't think. But there you have it now. Colossal people. But yeah, I do think it's interesting that they're still around and that like Sage changed it so that they're still like their own society and he didn't just like wipe them out or anything because he was like, these are living people, technically speaking. And so I like that aspect.
Really good. And then all we have of Alloy is the epilogue where we see Wax confront his uncle, who I'm so glad we no longer have to call Mr. Suit. I'm glad that's not a moniker.
I mean, really though,
Still
his name's
do.
like what, Edwarn? Like, come on now, Suit's kind of better.
It's not
Yeah,
that
I agree.
I just call him Wax's uncle, okay?
Yeah, just call him Uncle
Uncle
Eddie.
Wax.
Uncle Eddie.
Uncle Eddie. Yeah, his name's weird to say. It's like Edwarn.
Edward.
Yeah.
It hurts
I
my
don't like it.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't like flow well.
You can hard warn.
It just doesn't work. Like, stop being so dramatic.
But yeah, so we find out the uncle is still alive and pulling all these strings, and he's got a whole organization going on.
And Wax swipes his day planner to get all of his information. I don't think that's what they call it, but it's a day planner.
It's his day planner.
Real.
I think it's called like his appointment book or something like that. I don't remember.
It's a day planner.
Wow, that's impressive, Josh.
I'm
Dedication.
Josh was late, so Josh went back to the beginning, watched it 2 times speed, and then caught up to us at live. That is amazing. I've never done that with like a live show. I either just wait to watch from the beginning, or I'll just like go back and watch what I missed. I'm impressed.
That's a good idea.
I didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, I didn't know you could go back and like watch it while it was live. I thought you had to wait till it like was fully uploaded and processed. But I've never tried, so I didn't know. I'm impressed.
I've done it. I wouldn't recommend it.
It's not a good time.
Thanks for doing it.
We appreciate you, Josh.
My last Alloy comment is just a very sad Wax and Wayne exchange, which is like 2 lines and for some reason breaks my heart every time. And it's Wayne being like, I can't if they should have been there and you should have Wax. And Wax goes like, I will be from now on. And it's like,
Yeah,
that hurt.
yeah, I feel it. But you skipped over the part where when Marsh is handing that book to Marisai, when he says the line about Wax, how he does my brother's work, so I'm inclined to like encourage it or whatever the line is, and I'm just like, okay. It gives me such a feeling. Trading the day planner. Yes. There you go. So that's everything from Alloy of Law.
All of everything from
Chapter
Alloy.
by chapter.
Chapter by chapter.
It only
I'm
takes us an
here.
hour.
I mean, we talked about a lot of.
Yeah,
we got some side
into stuff.
tangents.
Yeah. Is there anything else we want to talk about specifically from Alloy before we jump into Shadows? And then
I'm
just
just
kind of
like
go over.
I'm just surprised that we're like this organized like this.
Casey, listen, I've like not been like a human being at all lately. I've just been so mentally like clocked out. And Casey came through. Like I'm supposed to be hosting this one, and Casey did all the background work of like putting all the stuff together. I did ask her to write like a synopsis so we could just kind of stay on like plot points, and she just went full throttle chapter summaries. Because I read Alloy early. I read Alloy last month so I could get ahead. And then I read Shadows like at the beginning of this month. So I was like, I already forgot everything. Like I remember it, but like staying on like point by point topics, since I knew Casey was reading at the last minute, I was like, please write up a summary. And she put in a lot of work. So blessed.
Listen, I am all or nothing. So that's what you got. You got a lot of pages.
Casey was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do this for Stormlight though. And I was like, don't worry, I've read the book 14 times. We don't need a plot by chapter by chapter summary. I got that shit in here locked down. At least for Way of Kings and Words of Radiance. I was like, we'll tag team the other two with summaries.
I don't remember anything from either of those books.
Oh, which one? With Bringer and Roe or
Yeah.
the first two?
I mean, I remember
Roe is a blur. It's a blur. Anyways.
Anyway.
Okay, so if anybody in the chat watching this hasn't finished Shadows of Self, we're going to get into talking about Shadows of Self now. So, spoilers ahead for Mistborn Era 2, Book 2.
Oh wait, what did everyone rate Alloy of Law?
4.
Yeah, I feel most people rate it 3 or 4.
Okay,
Yeah.
so in my defense, okay, so like I rated it like 2.5, 3 stars just because I
No,
didn't
I
enjoy
was
it
so offended.
overall. Yeah,
was so offended.
I remember that. But it was like with the footnote that I knew that things were gonna get better.
No,
It
Alex.
really felt like a prequel. It wasn't like a full blown like Mistborn novel. Like for me at least.
Yeah, see the thing, okay, before we jump into Shadows, I should explain this. When Sanderson started writing Alloy of Law, this was not meant to be Mistborn Era 2. This was meant to be just like a little like side novella before he did Mistborn Era 2. And because at the time was when he was like finishing up Wheel of Time and he was getting like burnt out on just like high fantasy, and he wanted just something, and he wanted to like stay connected to the Mistborn world because he'd been away from it for a while and keep people interested in it. So he's like, I'm gonna write like a quick little fun novella that happens between like Eras 1 and Era 2. But then when he wrote Alloy of Law, it just like the characters developed so much. It's like the first half of him writing that was like it's meant to be a novella, and that's why it's so fast paced. It's like there's not a lot of like meat into it. It's just like supposed to be like fast and fun, a little bit of catch up on the world building and stuff. But then it turned into this whole thing, and then he kind of went back and tried to like fill it out a bit more. And that's why when he wrote Shadows of Self, he wrote Bands of Mourning right like he wrote them back to back, and they came out literally back to back. But so like that's why it does read a little differently, like pacing wise, than when you get into Shadows. You feel like you're like actually in a proper like you're starting a proper series, whereas like Alloy feels a little more disjointed, and that's why. It's because it was meant to be. It wasn't meant to be a whole era, and so a lot of things that he was planning for the original Era 2, he's pulled into this. So like what is Era 3 now is like was originally supposed to be Era 2. So this like whole era that we're in now was just created like on the fly. Like we weren't meant to get this Western era. But I'm glad we did. I'm so glad we did.
Yeah.
He accidentally wrote a whole extra series.
Yeah, and also he keeps talking about the fact like right, Era 3 is supposed to be like 80s textile, Era 4 is supposed to be like space opera, but he also talks about how he wants to do like a cyberpunk space like age between like Eras 3 and 4, I think. And he's like, maybe I'll do that. And like he keeps talking about how like if he does that, then it would equal out to a total of 16 books for the Mistborn overall series, which would be pretty great. So I kind of hope he does do that, but we'll see. My point is like he can't stop. He can't stop himself.
He can't stop.
But he says that Mistborn will end with Mistborn Era 4. Like when he does the final book of Mistborn Era 4, like that will be the end of Mistborn and the end of the Cosmere. That's when the Cosmere all catches up to each other. He does exciting books. I know. So when he takes a break from writing, he relaxes by writing. I know, right? He's like, man, I'm burnt out on writing this book. I'm gonna go write something else. Like that's his whole thing. He loves it so much, and it's like what he's meant to do. Like clearly.
Yeah, but it's also how Alcatraz came to be. Like those
that's
were
true.
his break books.
Yeah, his break books. And didn't he write them for like Nano? He was like, I'm just gonna burst these out. Something fun. Yeah.
They were his break books between other books.
Yeah. Exactly.
Which is hilarious to me.
Brandon Sanderson is just like that Hamilton song, like wrote the other 51. Just write it.
Yes. All right. So, Shadows of Self, book 2.
This is the one that starts with the flashback from 17 years earlier.
Yeah.
Where we see Wax and Lessie meet for the first time in like this random thing, which by the way has another moment of Wax being dramatic as hell. He like
fucking good.
Strides into the bar and like waits for people to notice him, and then is disappointed when they don't look at him. It's such a small moment, but it's
dramatic in that entire flashback, honestly. And it's just like so fun also seeing like we've seen like how like cool Wax is now. So like getting to see him, like 17 years ago when he wasn't as like refined in his like techniques of how he was like a lawman and like he was not cool and he was trying to be cool, and now he's like proper cool. Like seeing that, getting to see him before when he was just like a proper nerd trying to be cool is great.
There's a moment where he shoots at the bad guys to like give them cover, and he hits 3 different keys on the piano. And it's just amazing.
Like does not hit what he's aiming for, but he keeps hitting the piano. Yes, and baby Wayne in that scene.
Baby. He's a baby. Listen.
He's a baby.
He's a baby. He's like probably like 17 or 18.
Yeah, he's probably like not been with Wax long at that point. Like he's probably fresh off have kidnapping Wayne. Just adopting him.
Sometimes you kidnap teenagers.
Before we deep dive into like the second book,
I
feel like I have to say that the covers for Era 2, for the UK ones, I do not get them at all.
What do they have on them, Casey?
So the first one is like some weird kind of shrine.
Yeah.
It looks like. And the second one is like a giant face in a mirror behind, I'm assuming, Wax
I think that's Wayne.
It's Wayne.
or
That's
Wayne.
That
Wayne.
might be Wayne, yeah.
I
Because he
think
has a
the
stick.
first one is of the train cutout that the Vanishers
Is-
use.
Okay, that looks like that could be that
Okay.
shape. That does make sense.
Maybe I get
It's hard for
that.
me to
Wow.
Also, this man in the corner, who is he?
Who knows?
Why does it look like Kelsier?
Does
I-
look like Kelsey.
You know what? It's Marsh.
No,
Marsh is
there's no spikes.
I was lying. It's okay.
I was lying. It's okay.
Yeah, but the second one, like, why big mirror? Why big face?
Don't
I
know.
it's
I mean, I guess it's maybe
dramatic.
just meant to add that like mystery of like the like shadows of self. Like it fits with the title, but it doesn't actually fit with the story. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like I get like, oh, we're gonna put this like mirror with his
Like,
face,
we're-
like because it fits the title. Like it.
the whole way
it-
through reading it, I was like,
Wait.
when's it gonna be a mirror? When's it gonna be like something to do with a
Not.
mirror?
There's just
Yeah.
a lot of
I mean-
self-reflection.
Yeah, on the like American, like the U.S. editions, it just got like Wax and Marasai.
Just
I
cowboys.
I love that
Oh, yeah.
cover.
I
Mainly
forgot
because
that
of
I'm on my
Veracity.
phone, so it's like my phone. Yeah.
the
And then,
first
yeah,
one
oh,
is
the
bad.
Alloy.
Look at that. They gave Wayne a gun.
I know. I'm so pissed off. He's literally holding a gun in this picture. I'm like, did they read the book?
Yeah,
Like I
really.
like the like images of them. Like it doesn't look off far off from like what I actually picture, like how they look. But Wayne's holding a gun, and I'm like, did you read the book? That boy can't hold a gun. Like he freaks out when he's holding a bullet. Like, but yeah. And then sneak preview, Vans just has Wax and Steris on it.
Okay, something I don't like about Shadows of Self is that it doesn't have the at the beginning, like the Alloy of Law, then
Oh yeah.
the Bands of Mourning, but Shadows of Self doesn't have the. It like
It doesn't.
It messes
Yeah.
with me.
Just the Shadows of Self.
I wish the other ones didn't have the on it.
I know. I kind of think they'd be better without the. Like
Like,
I always just
I-
say Alloy of Law. I never say the Alloy of Law.
Yeah, I also never.
oh,
see-
that's true. Yeah.
We always just say Alloy of Law or Bands of Mourning or Bands.
Yeah.
Oh, or also the time Justin misread it as Bands of Burning.
Oh yeah, the burning. My bands, Doctor, they're burning. Don't ask. Yeah, so we can't forget Destroyer, the name of Wax's horse. He's such a dramatic person. I love him.
And I love that the reason is because she's like a little timid, so he felt like the name
Like,
would
it would
give her more
encourage
like
her.
yeah.
It's so fucking cute. I love Wax so fucking much. I just like I forgot how much like not only how much I love like Era 2 because it's just so fun and fast paced, but like just how much I love the characters. They're just so good.
It's also fun. I will tell you though that at the end, my note for the end of the like prologue is, this is fun and also an interesting way to kick off the book. I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. I'm not crying.
Yeah. Yup.
Because like reading that prologue when you know how the book ends. By the way, we're
Yeah.
gonna spoil Shadows of Self now. Everyone,
Yeah,
leave.
Shadows of Self spoilers if you haven't read it yet. Get out of here.
But yeah, reading that prologue is hard.
Yeah. Just when you know. It's like, oh cool, we get to like properly see Leslie. Oh right, I remember what happened to her.
I was very confused why they picked that prologue for the book up until the last chapter, and I'm still mad about it.
There's a lot of things that Sanderson plants like very early that you're
Yeah.
like, why is this here? Like this doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. And then
Sometimes
like
payoff can take a while.
can take a few books.
Just wait till you get to Stormlight. I'm still waiting on some payoff, guys. You guys are gonna be like, what does this mean? I'm gonna be like, bitch, I don't know. Just start crying.
Listen, we're planning spoiler alert, but I'm planning to try and put together a PowerPoint for the Bands of Mourning live show to prepare you.
For reasons. We won't get into why. Spence
To
knows.
make sure everyone is on the same page.
I remember
Yeah.
I was
After-
screaming there. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we had talked about after Bands of Mourning, like after everybody's caught up with Bands of Mourning and Secret History, we need to have like a little, just like a round table discussion of like, here's what you should know this deep in the Cosmere
Like
before we get
Cosmere
into
wise.
like the big boy books. So we're at the end of that live show. I think we'll have just like a solid like 20-minute, half hour just to be like, this is what you should know. If you missed it, this is what's what in the overall Cosmere thing. Because
Yeah.
there's some stuff you need to make sure you're aware of.
There's a lot
Like you should know because it was in the books, but like you might have missed or might not have put together kind of thing. Things like that. So
Yeah.
Casey's gonna try to put together a proper PowerPoint for us, which I'm excited about. It'll be great. But anyways, Shadows of Self, let's get into it.
Shadows of Self. Okay, chapter 1
Yeah.
starts off from like a bad guy's point of view, which I think is a very interesting writer choice. But we get to see that massacre before we actually like see it from our main character's point of view.
Hmm.
which is fun. I don't think I like. Oh yeah. We have a moment where he's talking to the woman, and he's like very suspicious of her, and you are also very suspicious of her, but none of you are sure why.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Chapter 2 is just the whole like thing with the marksman guy who they're like chasing through the streets, and the whole time I'm like, Wax, buddy, you got to be more gentle as you're like tearing the street up, like. This is the whole Batman problem.
Isn't there
People
like a
live here?
Exactly.
Isn't one of the broadsheets that I think is in Shadows of Stuff literally has like an article on? I think it's in Shadows of Stuff, not Alloy, where it has like an article of Wax where it's like all the damage he's done to property because the fucking constables have like properly hired him and they just don't care. And it's like it's a proper article. It's about like how shitty things are now that Wax is like just allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants and get away with it. And I'm like, I like that this is like in the newspaper. People are like, he tore up my sheet. He ruined this woman's car. Like all this stuff. Like it just flew on by. So I'm like, yes. Because this is absolutely what people would be reporting on with Wax just tearing up property and stuff.
Yeah. This makes me very happy because I'm trying to do it as like low key as possible.
Casey, you need to make your screen have like an effect so you're like in a speed bubble and you come back with the hat.
That would be cool.
If we were high tech.
We're not.
We're not high tech people.
But Bree, you're a robot.
That's true. No, she killed the robot self.
I killed the robot.
We're safe now.
I killed the robot.
Alex, I have worn like
so far there's been like 5.
Yeah, Casey's been changing hats like every 10, 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean Wayne, sorry, Wayne's been changing hats as Wayne does.
Speaking of Wayne and hats, by the way, as they're going into the slums, the chapter starts off with Wayne gently speaking to his hat, like, I need you to stay behind. You can't come in here. It's too dangerous for you. And like, you're like, who the hell is he talking to? And Wax is like, stop talking to your hat.
It's just so funny. I love it so much. It's so good.
I have a hat point to make,
Okay.
An interesting hat point. I feel like it was weird to me when they described that the constables wear helmets rather than like any kind of cap, and they said that one of them wears a metal helmet and it's got like double plumes on the top.
I feel like helmet.
Like a Roman soldier.
Yeah, that's what they made it sound like. They said he had like the double plume of a constable or something on his helm.
I feel like the like metal or like helmety shaped things were common at one point. But the plumes are a little much. But we've discussed how they're very dramatic in this.
They're very dramatic in this era.
I think the plumes were just for like leadership too. So it's like this person doesn't actually do police work. They are just there to be fancy.
They're just there.
Well, maybe the helms are aluminium to stop pushing.
I mean, I'd say there's also the fact that like the aluminum hats. So it's their helms are probably lined with the aluminum to keep from emotional allomancy.
It's mentioned like multiple times that you can kind of see it through like some of the other hats. Like you can tell that they're aluminum lined.
Yeah. Honestly, it makes me laugh so much every time I read about it because it sounds like such a weird like in our time, like, oh my god, this guy's just got aluminum foil on his head. He's like such a like conspiracy theorist. You know what I mean? It's just like when I picture it, I'm just like, that's what I'm seeing. But like obviously it makes sense in world.
I'm also just picturing sometimes when they mention it that they're just wearing a tinfoil hat.
Yeah, exactly. That's like the first time I read these books, I was like, I mean, this makes sense with the magic, like I get it, but also the way what I'm immediately picturing is hilarious. Yeah, it's just a good time. But yeah, I assume that like the constables and stuff, that's what they're probably lined with aluminum. It would make sense.
I'm gonna mention it again. I love watching Wayne do his thing where he just like grifts as he like becomes this other person and slips into a community too well. By the way, he gets like adopted by a woman for a little bit and then like
yeah, it's honestly it's so interesting. Also, I just like love that whole scene when like he's going through and like Marisai and Wax are like trying to do their thing and she's like trying to properly question people and like Wayne's already gone off and figured out everything by just like sneaking in with these people and like they think he's just some random person's son and they're like, you sit here and eat this goddamn apple, you don't you go causing trouble. Like,
yeah, he gets adopted.
He just, like, gets in so well.
Yeah, exactly. Like the funniest thing about the hat is that it's like, it's like, but it's the same reason that people wear tinfoil hats in our world. It's just not
that's
true.
the same reason. It's just not true. But yeah, it's used to block the emotional allomancy. It's good time.
I don't know if it's too early to ask, but I'm curious to know like what y'all think about like Wayne's humor, like his brand of humor.
I think it's hilarious.
Most of the time I like it. There are, like, I understand when some people say they get a little annoyed with Wayne. I still love Wayne. Like, I've never not liked Wayne. And I know a lot of people, when I see them talk about how they don't like Wayne, a lot of people say they like Wayne when he's playing off of other people, but they don't like him when they're in his point of view, which I can understand the distinction of. But obviously, like, I didn't really remember because I hadn't reread these in a long time. So I was like, okay, it'll be interesting to see if I actually, like, have a different opinion on Wayne when I read. But I love him. Like, sometimes he says things that I don't love, but, like, that doesn't make me not like him as a character. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, I don't
same
agree
here.
with, like, everything he says or, like, some of the jokes he makes. Like, obviously, like, I don't necessarily, like, approve of that, but I still like him as a character, if that makes
But
sense.
also, like, to me, Wayne is saying those things because he knows it will make you uncomfortable.
Like,
when
he's
he says
absolutely
them.
intentionally being the way he's being. Like, it's an intentional way he acts.
Also,
Yeah.
both Wax and Wayne are severely mentally ill throughout this whole series. Like, they're struggling from severe PTSD.
Who's
From-
not?
That's true. But also, like,
Especially
unsure.
just in Mistborn.
Yeah, unsure if Wayne actually believes that he is only trading things. Like, it doesn't actually count as stealing. It's never actually confirmed or not whether that is a joke or whether that's something he truly, like, believes.
Yeah.
So, like, the delusions
I think
are...
he really thinks it.
I think
he does too.
I think it's a delusion he, like, fully believes.
Absolutely.
I think he's maybe gotten some brain damage that he couldn't quite heal from, and we're just gonna need to accept that.
Yeah. I mean, like, they all have some severe PTSD going on, like, and the way they cope is just, you know.
I mean, some traumatic brain injuries you just can't heal from. So.
It's true. It's true.
And
The way I see it is, and I brought this up in the Discord, is that, you know, like, we all have that one friend who, like, says, like, stupid stuff every now and then, and, like, okay, but you're, like, you still love that person, but you're like, okay, but you gotta stop saying that, you know? Because, like, yeah, I didn't ever dislike Wayne, but I could see, like, why some people, like, question some of the things he says.
Yeah.
I love him wholeheartedly.
Casey
Yeah,
will
me
die
too.
defending Wayne.
I think he's a fascinating character. I want to read, like, some psychologists do, like, psychological workup of these characters.
Right. Yeah, like the way he uses his, like, humorous belt to not, like, get serious with things. Yeah, like, it's such a real thing that people do.
Yeah, like.
Oh yeah, this is true as well. Like how it gives
That's interesting.
non-Allomantic people
Yeah.
a leg up on the Allomantic people. It's true. Yeah, it's a good dynamic.
Atium is, like, basically worthless now because it doesn't do anything.
It doesn't exist.
There's none left.
Currently doesn't exist.
Well,
I still think it's coming back.
I mean, we all do.
Right at the end of this book. Right at the end, it does.
No.
He's in the pits of Hatson, but there's no.
I thought there was, as they were climbing up, they could see the beads growing in the middle of the crystals.
No.
I don't believe so.
I don't think so. And also, no, I can't say that.
I'm gonna look.
Casey, be careful. Hang on.
I don't think so. Everyone pause as we open our books.
Hang on. Well, I have tabs in that area, but
No, you're right. It says had once been overgrown with crystals. You're right.
yeah. But yeah, like Katrina said, I think we do all think it's coming back.
We do all think it's coming back because it's
as stated in Era 1, it would take about 300 years to regrow, and how many years has it been? 340. So I mean, I assume we will see a return of Adium.
It's overdue. It's late.
It's overdue.
The Adium is late, guys.
Yeah, this might be correct that the crystals are forming, but there's, like, not beads in them yet. Like, it's starting. The process has started, I guess you would say. Yeah.
Maybe the beads have already been taken.
Ooh, we don't know.
Oh no!
I will just say, guys, the fourth book. You haven't read book 3 yet, but the fourth book is called Lost Metal. So that tells you anything. We don't know that means. We don't know that means Adium, but the book is called The Lost Metal. Doesn't necessarily mean Adium. It could mean other things. I'm just saying.
Okay. Do we learn in book 3 what that weird spike is made from that nobody can identify?
What spike?
There's a spike. There's a spike at the very end of Shadows of Self that
the spike
they
that
find. Yeah,
that
Bleeder was using. Bleeder was using.
And
then they
discolored
don't know what it is.
Weird spike that's not known to Harmony.
Yeah, it's like
that's not known to Scadrial. Yeah.
I hope it's plastic.
Raffo.
I was gonna say that's a Raffo, yeah.
Gonna give a Raffo. I won't tell you what we do or do not know in book 3. Also,
Okay,
I
all right.
don't entirely remember what we're doing. I've only reread half of Bands right now. I haven't finished my reread of Bands. And the end of Bands is a fucking blur, because I will say a lot happens at the end of Bands. It's a blur.
Oh yeah. Bands is my favorite. Cosmere.
Bands is so good.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, like one of the broadsheets, there is like a chef who claims to like put ADM on his food, which is funny to me.
And Marisai says to that apple seller as well. She's like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
you could only sell these if they were like soaked in ATM or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's little mentions. Do we want to keep going with my thing, or do we want to keep going off on our tangents? Which are we liking more?
I'm
Your
sure
thing?
we'll keep making tangents as you go.
Yeah,
through
I
the thing.
think you're giving us like avenues for tangents every time you
Okay.
bring up something. So it's working.
I'm living for it though.
Yeah.
That's kind of why I did it, because I figured if I had something to like fill in blanks with, then you guys
Yeah.
would like.
Yeah, because I know
Go
there's a lot
on.
of times we'll do live shows and it's like a lot of us are sitting there like trying to remember stuff and just sitting there like quiet for a minute, like trying to remember something that we want to talk about but we can't remember. So this is working really well, I think.
Okay.
This might be our longest live show yet. Let's go.
We're only on chapter 4 of Shadows, so it might be.
I'm here for it.
Chapter 4 is when they're like seeing the massacre scene, and we're introduced to Constable Reddy and the Constable General Aradel. I don't know how anyone else pronounces his name.
I
but-
say Aradel. Also, real quick interruption. Fun fact. Aradel. It's hinted at, but it doesn't properly state it. He is descended from Goradel, the guy who Marsh brutally murdered at the end of Hero of Ages, who was carrying the metal note back to Vin. That guy, that Gordito, as Steph would say.
Gordita. In her vlog, Gordita.
So yeah, it says like at one point, like Marisai says, like she could almost see the descendant that he was like the warrior he was descended from Era 1. And it's not like stated who it was in text, but Brandon confirmed that outside of text. It was Gordo.
Yeah.
So I figured I'd throw that out there because I'm assuming no one picked up on that. So,
No,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known.
yeah.
I forgot about it, so.
Yeah, I noticed it on my reread and I tabbed it, so I was like, I'll have to bring that up for people. Continue. See, we got on a tangent when you were like one sentence in and I already
That's true.
tangent. Didn't even finish your sentence.
I really do
Continue.
love that the whole thing of like the politician thing. Wayne sums it up with like political slime is different than regular slime, and then Aradel is like, oh, yeah, actually.
Yeah, I liked Aradel.
Me too. I think he's fun.
Yeah, he's a good character.
And then that's the end of part 1, by the way. Part 1 is so tiny in
Hmm.
Quick.
Shadows itself. It's like
You gotta kick
so
off.
tiny. And then part 2, we get Wayne being the one to point out to Wax like how the like whole fight started, about how the Steel Runner like shot from each group at the other group to get them to like start the firefight themselves, basically,
Yeah.
which is fun. And then we have the really like just heartbreaking scene. This is like the chapter where we get like Wax drunk as he attempts to break into the university, which is
You mean Wayne?
damn it. They do both have W names, which is just
That's
confusing
true.
to my brain.
That's true.
But yeah, we have Wayne breaking into the university drunk, and then like it's like you're like, what's he doing? This is weird, and then he's like confronted with the like daughter of the man he murdered, and it's like the horrible, heartbreaking scene.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And then what else? Oh yeah, and then Wax at this time is going into the terrace village. So like while Wayne is having, the worst day of his life every month, Wax is going to have tea with his grandmother.
Yeah.
Which is fun. And then
It is equally as bad.
it is not quite great.
No. I do love seeing just like the terrace village though, and like seeing how that's progressed.
It's fun, yeah.
Like how like the terrace, like how he talks about how like there's like people in the terrace village and like in the terrace religion who still think they're gonna find like old terrace and things like that, and it's interesting.
And then we have he learns about the steel pusher that left recently, and she was acting very erratically, claimed she was being visited by the spirit of her dead brother.
Wonder what that could mean.
I have no idea. Also,
Wait,
we have
what was that?
so the woman that is like the steel pusher that left the village. She left because she was acting erratically and being haunted by her dead brother, which is obviously the Khandra taking her brother's bones and like
Bleeder.
yeah.
There's a line that like
It's
she
a
was
very
like seeing
subtle
her
thing.
dead brother, and it was like obviously people think she's crazy, but that's your first like proper hint to like a Khandra.
Like there's a
Gotcha.
Khandra afoot.
Side tangent, I will just say it was very enjoyable for all of us involved to watch Max go, man, I really want some Khandra in this book. And we're all just like, is he going to get some Khandra?
They're like my favorite thing. I love them
I
so
know.
much.
Also, the best thing is like when you're like, oh, this is like an interesting way to start the book, this like Lassie prologue. And then immediately your next beat was, I hope we get some Khandra. And we were like, more than you bargained for, maybe. More than you bargained for.
I'm here
Oh.
for it.
I made a note of this and I just forgot to read it out, but it is funny how much Wax hates the cars.
Oh my god, yes.
He loathes these new cars so much.
He's just an old man, and I love him so much.
He's such an
Me
old
too.
man. Oh, I love him.
He's so grumpy.
These young whippersnappers with their cars. In my day, we had a good horse. Wax.
We have another chapter start with Wax just flying over the city thinking, which he does like 5 or 6 times in this book.
Yeah.
Just flies over the city having a think and then gets distracted. Oh, and then we have Detective Wax and Wayne on the case theme music start. We have like the briefest few scenes of them doing actual like more classic detective work, and it's hilarious to me. We also have a scene of Wax making Wayne return something, which
Oh yeah.
I think is the first and possibly only time we have that happening. Because like there's people like think about like mentioning something about like, oh, we should have Wax return that thing, like I'll do it later. But we don't actually like see them doing it.
What is it that he makes him return?
It's just like a wristwatch.
Okay.
They had like gone into a shop to ask something and like he stole a wristwatch out of the case.
Ah, sorry. I fell down. Don't worry about it. I will return momentarily. Enjoy the weird angle of my feeling.
So the locked glass case in the jewelry store, not okay to take from that.
Yeah, he's like it was just in a case, just right there. It was basically nothing. It's so funny. And then they find the terrace woman very creepily murdered with the hemorrhagy, and it's like the creepiest sentence is like it's described as like tearing a chunk off someone's soul.
Yeah.
I think it's the phrase, which is just that's nice. Thanks for that.
I also love the line like when they're describing like the kitchen or whatever. They're like, it was just big enough to fit a body. I knew this because of the dead body on the floor. Like, it's like, how'd you? Oh, I see. It's just like
I
such
love
an
someone
interesting way
mentioning that.
to
in the
describe that scene. Yeah, multiple people in the Discord I think brought that up. It's just such an interesting way to like start the description of that scene, and I fucking love it. Like because of the dead body. It's like, oh,
There was
okay.
a really good Wayne line in that where he was like, she didn't have the good grace to not be dead yet.
Yeah.
Fucking love Wayne.
No, bodies come in all shapes and sizes, but specifically the kitchen size.
Yeah.
Looking forward.
Oh my. Good time.
And then like we have the note in the corpse's pocket
yeah.
that says someone else moves us, lawman.
Someone else moves us, lawman.
One of the last things Bloody Tan said before Wax killed his wife.
Bloody Tan says it twice before he kills his wife. He says it, and then he says it again after Leslie gets shot.
He really has to hammer it home.
Hammer that shit in there.
Oh
man.
Oh yeah, and then I love that. So then we cut to the next chapter. We cut to Wax and Wayne getting back to like Wax's house, and they're bickering as they get in the door. And my theory is that they bickered the whole ride there. It's like a 20-30 minute carriage ride. They bickered the entire time.
Yes.
So that's just who they are. And then we have them leaving again, like immediately. And Wayne is like, "Hey, coachman, can I ride up there with you?" And it is Hoyd. Hoyd is the coachman.
Hoyd is the
Yes,
coachman.
I saw Hoyd that
Very brief cameo, because like I don't even, does he like say anything? He's
No,
just
I don't
called
think
out
he
as
does.
Hoyd, yeah, and it's a
Yeah.
pretty brief one.
I think he says like, "Yeah, you can ride up here with me," but I
Like,
think
yeah, he responds, but it's just like, yeah, sure. Or I think he just nods. I don't even know if he says anything. It's such a small one.
But the idea of Hoyd and Wayne together is a great one.
It's true. It's like I
Yeah.
wish we could have seen like a proper conversation there.
Yeah, it would have.
Also,
ridiculous things abound.
is this the carriage ride where Wax just starts talking to God on the inside? as a full-on conversation. I love that Hoyd's just right outside for that, just for reasons. Just like that he's probably listening to that conversation for reasons.
Yeah, I didn't like write many quotes down from it, but like the whole scene is like completely fascinating. And like we get some hints about how like more about how holding the powers work, about how like he's not sazed anymore. He's like the personality is sazed, but he's holding the powers and like he can't do much.
That line where he's like the personality that I am like agrees with your indignation, but like the powers that I hold are like constantly fighting with each other, and I have to keep the balance and I have to be neutral. Like it's such a like interesting explanation, because like he's constantly struggling with these two powers that are warring with each other.
Yeah.
So it's like it's sazed, but it's not sazed. You know.
Yeah. The interesting thing is one of the ways he puts it is he says like my hands are tied and I am bound. Like he says it like as if it's two different things.
Yeah. It's an interesting distinction.
Exactly.
Interesting distinction.
And I also love that point where he's like, and you guys, I just made the world too nice. You're just sitting there doing nothing. You should have a radio by now. And Wax is like, what the hell's a radio?
Yeah. Yeah. You have everything you want here. You're barely progressed technology from what I gave you in the books. Well, I made a mistake with you. I now see. I still make many. Does that ruin your faith, Waxillian? Does it worry you that your god is fallible? Oh, it's such an interesting conversation.
It's so good.
And it's also just like nice to like get like an actual proper like glimpse of Sazed as Harmony instead of just like the teases we've been seeing and like the information that we've gotten from just like the religion itself.
And it's
like,
also
to see him talk.
Like such an interesting scene to read, even though it's literally just a man sitting in a carriage talking to himself. Like that's what's happening, but it's like a fascinating scene to read.
It's really like I love it. I have I think like 3 different tabs in this scene. Just this one scene. Yeah,
and then I love that like wait, what do you want to say, Katrina?
I was gonna say I like the Sazed ass if being fallible bothers Wax, because his entire thing in book 3 was that all of the religions are in some way fallible, and that destroyed him.
Yeah. I also like one of like how like the mandate of that religion is like to specifically not worship harmony. It's like worshiping is in the deed of like doing good and like, you know, all that stuff. It's like he doesn't like that's prohibited is to like not sit there and just like worship harmony. I like that.
Yeah, it's like do more good than harm.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we have like the weird interrogation of the guy that tried to kill the governor. And he has like a thing embedded in his arm. For some reason, that's such a creepy line to me that they like, he has like the coin embedded in his arm, and Mariside's like, oh, we didn't notice that. I'm like, how did you not notice the weird bulge in this man's arm? I feel like we should have asked him about it.
Maybe it was on the inside of his elbow or something.
Yeah,
it's
like a weird spot.
subtle.
Maybe.
My thought is that it wouldn't be proper for Marcy, as an unmarried woman, to look at this man's bare arms.
Yeah, she's not like feeling them up, Casey.
Their arms are very attractive, so I understand.
She's like, must not look.
Cannot look. Yeah, then we immediately jump into like the like little mini flashback we get with like 12-year-old Wax, which is just
with
adorable
him, like, the coins
and also horrifying.
Yeah. I love that moment when he just like runs back through the whole bank and he's like, here's this really valuable coin to just like that random guy, and it's like he doesn't believe Wax, and it's just so
like,
cute.
what the fuck are you talking about?
He's like, it's worth all this money, take it and go. They're trying to swindle you.
They're also really trying to hammer home how much of a genius Wax is by like showing him figuring out the coin thing right before his uncle tells him about it.
Because like his uncle didn't believe him when he was like, I just like figured it out. Hey, Eli's here.
Hello.
Hey, Eli.
Hello. Welcome to the party.
Welcome. Well,
yeah.
Oh yeah, and I think the great sum up of how bank loans and like interest work in real life as well is just like you'll make slaves of them.
Yeah.
Nice and creepy and not subtle at all.
Yeah, that bit was not fantasy. That bit was real life.
Yeah, that was like, this is how the real world works.
Yep.
Yep.
Also, we have him telling this whole thing to Steris.
Oh, yeah.
And then him having like that like small crisis about like, but I wasn't doing it to be like a good person. I wanted to be a hero. And she's like, I don't care. You saved my life. It doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah. Like you can be both.
Can be both.
You can both be a hero because you wanted to be a hero, and also just like be a good person.
Yeah.
Even if the motivation is because you want to be adored, because you want to be a hero. Like you can do both.
You can do both, man. That's like every book with Wax. It's like you can just do both.
Like you can do both.
Both things.
Yeah.
And then we have and then they like fly up with like what's basically like a makeshift grappling hook.
I fucking love when they're like getting there and like Steris is like, oh, like she like has her whole like layout of like how they were gonna like get into the party, and she's like, oh yeah, like we can't get in, and then you fly us to the top and it's very dramatic but breathtaking, and he's like checking the time and he's like, oh well, your time's off, you know, we're early. It's just like I love how like prepared she is to like plan out everything. I just love Steris.
Yeah, I think these are the small moments in these like few scenes that made me start really liking Steris, because we don't see a lot of
you really don't get her in Alloy. Like you see her at the very beginning when they make the contract, then she gets kidnapped at the wedding, and then you see her at the very end when he saves her. Like she's not in the book. In this one, she's in like the first half, and then she kind of gets sidelined again. But like she has just such like every little moment she has to me is just like so special because she is so different and she just like owns it so much. And
I also feel
I love her.
Like this is a moment where we get to see that she has begun to like intimately know Wax.
Yes.
And like really understand him and what makes him tick. And I just think they might not be the happiest married couple, but I think it'll work.
Yeah.
I think it'll definitely work. And I think like they show that in like how much she likes it when they go flying.
Yeah.
Like she is like so excited and so like into it, and she's like he's like, I thought she was terrified, and like she probably is terrified, but she's also having a shit ton of fun.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
Steris is great.
Oh yeah.
Steris is amazing.
The moment
And
we're like,
I guess we could talk about how like Steris is a much better representation for someone on the autism spectrum compared to some others.
She's autistic, yeah. We've seen a bad representation of that in Elantris with the character Aiden. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Aiden.
Yeah, the young boy that was
That's my fave though.
Serene's like young cousin or whatever. Yeah, you like immediately attached to that kid. Yeah, like that was supposed to be like a representation of autism, and it was not done very well. And Sanderson took that feedback to heart, and this is his next attempt at it. And it's much from what I've obviously I can't speak on it, but from what everyone I have known has said is it's good representation. And it's better.
Yeah, I can't speak from personal experience either, but I will say that I love that they incorporated her having like prepared conversations before, and I assume her having like and her having like note cards of like what she's gonna say and stuff, because that is something that I have seen people with autism, like on the autism spectrum, actually do. It's like a way to like know how to interact in the conversation. I just think that's like so good, so well done.
I love her.
I also love her. This is great.
Yeah.
But I also love when Wayne and Marasai get to the door and then are rejected. And then he like throws up a speed bubble. And then as they're having this conversation about what to do, they have to pace. So like you can't see them like from the speed bubble, which is just hilarious to me. Because I just imagine they're like walking in tiny circles. Having this conversation. And every time I read that scene, it's just hilarious to me.
I fucking love it.
And then also that Wayne just has all of this costume stuff just hidden in the carriage at all times.
I know, right? Like he was so prepared. And I like when we like flash back to Wax and Steris is like, oh yeah, like they got turned away or whatever. And he's like, I would be surprised. Wayne's already in here. Like I know he's already in here somewhere. He's like, don't worry about it. Wayne's already in here. It's fine.
The governor says like, oh, I'm sorry about your deputy, but he was too much of like a risk.
And Wax is he's like, that's funny. Like I just love that moment. He's like, Wayne's in here somewhere.
The funniest thing is Wax is like, oh, good, because he was worried that like Wax would get bored of the party and just like wander off. So like the governor
you said it wrong again. You said Wayne. Yeah, he was afraid that Wayne would get bored and leave, but now that it's like a challenge, he's like, oh yeah, Wayne's in here. You challenged him, so now he's definitely coming to this party, and he's already in here somewhere. Oh, I love Wayne so much. I love them all. They're such good characters.
They're so great.
I wonder if it helps Wayne to not have to go to a social event as himself, since he's dealing with so much like personal shame.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not bored. Maybe he just doesn't like himself, so he leaves.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely probably one of the reasons he plays so heavily into like his roles as well, I would imagine.
I mean, interestingly, like the reason he snaps out of playing that character and like that he's having so much fun doing is because that girl comes up to him and like slaps him and says like, you killed my dad.
Oh right, yeah, like fucking
else.
shock the shit out of him.
And then he's like, I need to find Wax.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
like,
that
really,
really fucks with him because it's like, oh god, it hit a spot.
Yeah.
He's like, did she just say I killed her daddy? And it like breaks him, it just shatters the illusion for him.
It's rough.
So yeah, you get to see that moment of like the real trauma he's dealing with and he's just kind of been burying. Yeah. Wayne has so many layers.
So many layers. I also love seeing Wayne and Marisai like left to their own devices in a corner, just doing nonsense.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I like their dynamic a lot.
Yeah. They have a really good dynamic.
Which is always so annoyed with him.
Yes.
And then we have Milan, or however you would say her fake name, flirting with
fake one. I pretty much say it the same way, like Milan.
I say
Milan. I guess it's a more
Milan.
extended as contra name, Milan.
That's how we say the contra name, Milan.
Yeah.
Milan.
I know it says like when she first introduces him, like it spells it differently, and it's like she says it differently. But I would say like Milan instead of Milan. I guess I don't know because it doesn't have the double A. Either way.
And a lot of people forget that she's in
Era 1. Yeah, she is the Khandra that like the young Khandra that was like looking up to Tensoon and trying to get him to fight back when he was like caged up. But oh, Milan. That's why when we were like we would talk about her, we brought her up in like the live show for Hero of Ages, and everybody in the chat was like, "Yeah, Milan," and we're like, "That bitch had like 4 steeds." It was like, "Why does everybody love this Khandra?" And it was like, "Because she comes back."
Because she's the best.
Because she pulls a gun out of her boob.
Like imagine if you had boob pockets. It's the only thing they'd be good for.
I was thinking like it's Tensoon's baby, and she's awesome.
Yeah. She's so great.
I reread that scene the other night and I was like, Bree, she pulled a gun out of her tits. Why don't my tits hold things?
Right? Like, exactly. Yeah, Milan, that's how I say it as well.
I feel like people have like slightly different variations, but it's pretty much all the same.
Pretty much the same. I feel like everybody goes the same route with it's just how you extend that like sound a little bit. But yeah, I think her and Steris are my 2 favorite Era 2 characters. Milan and Steris. Those are my top 2. Milan's fucking great.
Oh yeah, that fight scene when he uses the grappling hook to like cave in a man's chest.
Yeah.
Like hardcore.
Very hardcore.
Is that the one where he's like swinging it out and then immediately pulling it back and stuff like that? Yeah, that was really cool.
I think it's the only fight scene we see with the grappler.
Yeah.
Or like fake
I feel like that's like the perfect weapon for a coin shot, though.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, because it wouldn't work as well with a lurcher. It would have to be a coin shot.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
We have Wayne's point of view when he's like interviewing the hostess. I don't even know why he's doing this, but it makes me really happy that he's just interviewing random people at the party. And then he asks where she got her shoes.
Yes.
And just
that seems really great.
He leaves everyone so confused.
Yeah.
Like all the time.
It's just such a good time.
And then Wax dropping in on the carriage of the governor as he's like in the carriage on the way home, and he just like drops inside like, "Hey, how's it going?"
Yeah.
And then he like pretends to leave the carriage.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're fine. You don't need me. Okay, goodbye." And he's like, "Wait a fucking minute."
He like offers his gun and he's like, "Yeah, I'll just go then."
Yeah.
And then we have the very disturbing like priest nailed to the wall business.
It's like so gruesome.
It's so like we don't even see it, and for some reason it's so much more gruesome than like other
it's like so detailed.
So cool. I love that scene though.
Yeah.
It's
so like cool. The way that like woman's describing it, she's like, at first we thought like, you know, he was coming in to like preach or something. Like he comes up and he starts just like giving a speech, and like we didn't notice the blood dripping off of his hands at first, and then he reveals it, and it's just like, oh, this is so twisted.
If you like that scene, you will like a scene at the very beginning of Preacher.
God, no, I didn't like that scene, Casey.
I'm just saying, watch the opening scene of Preacher. There's a lot of blood and a random preacher man. It'll be fine. And then he's like asking if Marisai wants to go meet someone, and she's like, "Yeah, why wouldn't I want to?" And he's like, "Well, I think meeting her might be like theologically difficult."
That line's really funny to me.
And then one of my favorite scenes, I don't know why this is one of my favorite scenes, but when Wax is it's basically like a church for Breeze.
Did you say Wax? Because you definitely meant Wayne. This is all I'm doing during the live, just in case you get so confused.
Just correct me on which one I'm talking about.
There are multiple people who read that scene, and it takes them a minute to realize he's at a bar and not in a church.
Yeah, I love that scene. That was so cool.
So funny.
Both. It's supposed to be like anyway. So yeah. I just love that, and I love that he's just going around making them drink, and it just lightens their mood just a little bit.
I also like that. There's a portrait of Breeze in this bar.
That's why it's both.
Yeah, with just his cup thrust forward. I'm like, that's my Breeze. Asking for a refill.
Okay, I'm embarrassed to say that I actually just realized that now that you pointed it out, Bree.
Wait, which thing?
No, that it's actually a bar and not a church.
Well, I mean, he's mixing drinks halfway through, so I mean that should have made it obvious.
I mean, I don't know how churches work in this world, but
I like to think that Breeze also became a religious figure, and this is how we worship him.
Exactly.
Breeze's historical title is Counselor of Gods, so it's a pretty cool title. He's got Counselor of Gods. Yeah.
And it must be weird to show up to the house of worship at your best friend's great grandfather and be like, "Yeah, I can work a shift."
I like how the end of that scene, Wax has to make sure Wayne is all it's all covered, he's not stealing anything, he doesn't need to pay for anything because they're just giving him free drinks at that point.
And he's shocked that they are covered, he has paid for it. He's like, "Whoa,
easy breezy, beautiful." I hope that's the tagline under that portrait.
It is.
And a fancy script, just easy breezy, beautiful. It's my new headcanon.
I also love where Milan is trying to convince them to not be intimidated by her.
Yeah. She's
just treat me like a normal person. And Marisai says you're over 600 years old, and Milan goes, "So's dirt." And I just love that exchange.
At one point as well, when it describes Milan walking into somewhere, it says she is 6.5 foot high.
Yeah, she's tall. Yeah,
she's
tall.
Massive. Yeah.
She tends to keep a tall figure. Yeah.
6'6". That's huge.
She's a tall lady.
I think the first time we meet her is in Wax's point of view, and he says she's taller than he is. So she's very tall.
Because she comes up to him at that party when she introduced herself as however you say her fake name. the fake Milan. Yeah.
She's
it always talks about how she has big eyes, she's large eyes, and she's very tall and busty.
Oh, she does also belch through her palm in this scene.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Actually, she belches through her palm before trying to convince them to not revere her, which I think is amazing.
Yeah. Doesn't she also shift her skin color to match the color of her drink or something like that?
Yeah, that's how she tells Wayne that it's her.
Yeah. It's just so cool. I fucking love her.
So good. Yeah, they the beginning of the scene when Wax and Marisai get there, they're having a belching contest.
You can hide all the guns in a 6-foot body. It's half of these bones are just guns.
That's why she's so tall.
Yeah, I fucking love her. Oh,
yeah, but there is also, so they're talking about how good the older Khandra are at imitation and everything, and that Palm Bleeder herself worked with the Lord Ruler, and there's a sentence dropped that I think she may have even I think he may have even had her imitate Inquisitors at times.
Which is,
and it's just that is wild. How did that work?
I know. I can't even think about it. But it's so interesting that she was the Lord Ruler's personal Khandra who did shit directly for him, which is intense. Because we all remember how that guy was.
And then there's more stuff about the city being up in arms, and then the moment I did it, I texted Bria about this earlier. I forgot. So I forgot the word precinct when I was writing the synopsis. I could not think of the word precinct for the life of me, so I just wrote cop headquarters.
The cop headquarters,
which works, but it's hilarious.
Yeah.
But I do love like Milan walking in and everyone being so focused on her, and then them looking into the dam bursting and being like, oh, and like I think Mariside's like surprised that Palm let them like bury her, and Milan's like, oh no, she's like committed. Like you gotta commit to it.
This bitch is ready to go. She's ride or die multiple times, like really die, and then pop back up. Oh. Yeah, it's so interesting seeing the other Condra talk about her as well.
And it's also fun to watch her talk to Aradel when she goes all like holier than thou, with all the bees
so
and the vows.
It was so funny. She's like literally just fucking with him, and it's so great. It's like that's what he expected, right?
Oh, and then there's a thing where Wax is once again flying through the city thinking, and then Bleeder starts talking to him. And she says something, and then he responds, and she says, no, I wasn't talking to you that time, Wax.
Yeah.
And it's like, then who the fuck was she talking to? Because Harmony can't reach her. So, like, who the fuck he's speaking to?
Also, the fact that, like, because obviously when you know, like, who all she was pretending to be throughout the book by the end of the book, like, there are scenes when she's literally, like, as the governor, talking, I think, to Steris, and also talking in Wax's head. At the same time, and it's like, how the fuck is she doing that? How is she doing that? Like, I don't know.
Like at the party when they're having that conversation, I assume the governor is still having a conversation with someone else.
Yeah.
So like the ability to like, their brains must work.
Like physically be talking to someone while also projecting the thoughts into this person's like, and we don't even have.
And also overhearing him speaking.
Yeah, like there's so much going on there.
There's so much going on in the scene. Where they're like talking to each other.
Colin is so interesting. Also, it's like so crazy on reread to go back and know that she was the governor the whole time. Like I keep trying to spot it in the reread, like see any kind of clue, and it's just like she's so good. Like I would never have figured that out.
Oh yeah, and then like she goes to attack the governor, and we get like a very cool moment after she murdered some poor guards, where one of the guards was Wayne, and he throws up a speed bubble, and she thinks she's still moving hyper speed. But since he's put up the speed bubble, she's moving regular speed now. And they're like, well, they're moving the same speed she is. And it's just so interesting to me to see like the way like she turns back and then is surprised because she didn't realize it was him. And I'm like, how did you not recognize your own child? You also adopted him.
I know, right?
Yep. What else happened? We see Wax step out of a speed bubble. Because I think every time before this, Wayne drops it right before someone steps out. But Wax steps out and he says he gets hit in the face with nausea as he does it. Like the
effects of like leaving it before it's dropped were finally shown to us.
And then the very creepy lines are written on the wall of, I rip out his tongue to stop the lies. I stab out his eyes to hide from his gaze. You will be free.
Yes.
Casual.
It's dramatic.
Listen, she had to be dramatic.
Paul is such an interesting character. Like, she fascinates me.
She had to keep up with
fucked
that.
Up. She fascinates me.
Fucked up. So fucked up. We also have Wax like repeating that thing to Wayne, and Wayne being like, "Now I'm as much for dismemberment as the next fellow. But that's a mite violent for this time of day."
Right.
Everything he says is amazing.
I love Wayne so much.
And then Wax has a meeting with his uncle, which of course goes wonderfully. Obviously, every question is answered. And
do you know, I felt like that was the one scene of the book that felt out of place.
It does seem kind of out of place.
And I feel like they just put it in so that you wouldn't forget that the uncle was a part of the storyline. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel you on that.
I was like, why was that scene there?
I feel like it could have been done off screen.
Yeah, definitely.
The only interesting thing he says, which made me laugh, is he says, have you ever wondered if you'd get along with them? Meaning like the original crew from Mistborn Era 1. And my only thought was, bitch, they would have killed you immediately. Like, you're all, like,
you would not have been friends with Kelsier. I like how it's like, the line was like, would you have like trussed up the Ascendant Warrior and thrown her in a cell? Like, it's like, yes, he would have.
Yeah, none of you would have been friends.
Yeah, Wax is all about the law and the justice and stuff like that, and he would not have aligned who he is now in that time with those people. Absolutely not. And it's such an interesting point that he brings up because it's like true.
I just like the chaotic good mixed with the lawful neutral. They're bad friends, but I love it.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
Marisai is in some important meeting where nothing productive happens. And then she tries to speak to the governor and he just leaves. And then she has the thought, like, she doesn't want him dead or whatever. And then she's like, it would be bad for city morale. And I'm like, that's your... Okay. Fair enough. She does some good old-fashioned snooping. She finds the incriminating letters.
Mm-hmm.
More wax flying and thinking. I'm telling you, this happens, like, consistently every few chapters. He's just flying and thinking.
That's how you do it. How else are you gonna think? Brain don't work good. Gotta fly.
If I could fly around and think, I would fly around and think.
That's true.
That would absolutely be how I did my thinking time.
I do love Wax's observation of like why the governor was so up in arms about someone trying to kill him. He's like, after all, the whole point of having someone in charge, like the governor, was about making sure people knew which fellow to kill. So I was like, okay. And the back and forth between Milan and Wayne when he tells her how to like fix the accent of the guard she's playing.
Yes.
It's so much fun.
They work so well together.
Yeah,
they do.
The fact that he's better at disguises than a 600-year-old literal shapeshifter.
Right?
He tells him he's like wasted as a human, and it's like so true.
It's so he's such a good grifter. I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
At all times. He also says like hats is a disguise for your brain, helps you think like the person who wore it last. You want to know a guy? Put on his hat.
I love it. I love it so much.
We also learned that the Khandra are just out living in the world as normal people, just doing people stuff, which I want to know more about. Like, what are their jobs? What are they up to? Where do they hang out?
Yes.
Oh, Wax gets to the field of rebirth to do stuff, and I think is this the scene where he looks up at the picture of his ancestor and is like, don't like that guy.
See the picture of Breeze, and he's like, I would not have gotten
face.
along with that guy. And it's like, you would not have. Like, it's so funny when you think about the fact that Wax is descended directly from Breeze and Alrian, because, like,
he would have hated both of them.
So different from Breeze and me. Like, just to think about it, like, if you just had them in a room together, they would be like, nah, we can't be related. It's good times all around.
You also get to see replicas of Harmony's bands and also the bands of mourning.
Wink, wink. Poor Michael Kramer, all these accents.
Sometimes they describe like the way the vowels sound, which I think is an interesting way to like describe the accent.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's fun. Ten soon arrives to escort Wax. There's
the best boy. I cry. Like, I literally cry. Even if I just, like, I've read that scene over and over again and I cry. When he talks about Vin, it literally breaks me. It breaks me.
I love the fact that he's so upset about the Sunni pups.
I know. He's like, that line when he's like, I'm so glad Say's put me in his book so people can curse about me, like curse by my name or whatever. Yeah. He's like, I've read about you. You know, he's like, I read about you and the words of founding. He's like, so glad Say's put me in his book so people can curse by my name. He's so grumpy. I love him so much.
He's so grumpy. And
then when he talks about Vin, it breaks me. It's like, she was the last master I ever had and the best one, you know, when she killed, she was the blade, and when she loved, she was the kissed, and in that manner, she was the most human I ever met. And I was just like, ugly crying every time.
This is what I want. This.
I'd watch that as well.
That would so many people that would watch this.
Yes. Oh my god. That would be such a fun thing.
It would be amazing.
So when they have Tensoon and Wax down in the tunnels, I don't fully understand what Bleeder did to the people that they fight. Or do we just not know yet?
I'll just tell you right now.
We
don't know yet.
Because it said that they were like super fucked up from like something.
Fucked up hybrid people, yeah.
Is like obviously like one spike wouldn't do that. However, if it's one spike of the metal that we know fuck ton of nothing about,
we don't know what that's doing.
Yeah.
I assume. Well, I mean, like, I assume it's more than just that spike, because like that spike was in Bleeder, like it was in Palm, and she wasn't like a deformed monster monkey.
But she was on that side.
But she's on that side, so yeah, like I assume it's related.
Yeah,
I assume it's related, but I assume there's more than just like that spike. Like I assume there's more to it, but again, we don't know what that spike does.
Yeah.
I don't think we get those answers. and
in
bands,
that
but I
chapter,
could be wrong.
I got a Candra answer that I didn't have an answer to before.
Which was
So when they leave the cave and they go up through what used to be the mine, Tensoon gets rid of the human bones he had, and he has the dog bones in like a
right.
pocket.
He like
right?
like a stomach thing he grows and he puts them in. Yeah.
But he can fully move with no skeleton.
Yeah.
And I think that's the first time you've seen one actually move without any bones in it.
Yeah,
which
he's
is
just
pretty cool.
living a blob life.
Very
brief.
Imagine.
I know.
Imagine the blob life. Imagine the blob. Oh my god, yes. It's so good. Just everything about the entire scene with Tensoon and Wax is so good.
It's so good. Also, I was like, why can't they make more? Like, I know why they can't make more Chandra, but like, why can't they make more Mistwraith? Like when? Because
the Mistwraiths were originally human, Casey. That were turned into Mistwraiths. That's what the Lord Ruler did to like all the Terrace people.
I think there are
So,
like a finite amount.
I'm sure Sazed couldn't do that, but like I think you have to be like, hey Sazed, can you turn me into a pile of goo? Like I think you gotta ask personally for that. Can I please be a blob?
I'd be first in line.
Like I don't think it's like a thing that they can't do anymore. I just think it's a nobody's asked Sazed to do it. I assume Sazed has that power because
do they know it's an option?
I'm assuming.
Someone needs to tell them it's an option. Because there's got to be some.
I mean, if people can sign up to become a Colossus and be like, "Hey, give me the spikes, bro," I'm sure people are like, "Hey, can I become some goo? Can I just be goo? Like, I don't want to die, but I want to be goo.
That's the dream.
I just don't want to be human anymore. make me goo." People just praying to Sazed, "Dear God, make me goo." The end. That'd just be Max in this world. Just, can I be goo now, please? I want to be
goo now. I want to be goo.
I want to be gooey. Okay, where are we now, Casey?
So we're at the part where Wax figures out what part of what Bleeder's plan is, and I wrote the sentence: Wax figuring out she's planning to mess up the other Conjur's plan to undermine her plan. There's a lot of plans.
Yeah, it's so interesting that like she set up like the religion to like put the religions against each other, and then knew the Condor were gonna like play the roles of those priests to like quiet it down, and then like she's just so one step ahead of everybody. It's so interesting.
It's so interesting. Yeah, there's also the line where Tensoon says like, "You are his ruin, I am his preservation."
Yeah,
which is
he says the same thing to Vin in Era 1. He says that you're of ruin and I'm of preservation. When technically you're both, but the way that Tensoon views it,
But Wax doesn't know that. He's just sad now.
He's a sad boy.
He's gonna get sadder, but we're not there yet.
He's always sad. He's gonna get sad a little bit. Me too.
I do like the cut of like Wayne outside the thing getting recognized, like in a mob of people.
Oh yeah.
And like we stop at that cut of him being like, "Oh shit," and we start the next time we're with him leading the mob that was.
He's like, I think he went this way. It's so fucking funny.
Like I want that back to back if they ever do a movie. I want like a sharp cut, and then like back to back instead of being split up with like a Wax thing in the middle. It's just so funny to me.
It's so funny. Like it's just so good. He's just so good at it.
And then
like he goes from literally like having a mob chasing him to being the leader of that mob immediately. And, like,
it's just wild.
And no one sees it. It's so fucking great. He's a treasure.
He's so good at everything. And then this is the point where Wax gets back to the governor's mansion and finds the gum on the windowsill and starts figuring shit out.
Mm-hmm.
They fly through they do a fly chase thingy, by the way, is what it says on my document.
Fly chase
thingy. And then like there's the end of his point of view is like she wore Leslie's face.
Oh god. It's so fucked up. Especially because like you as the reader, like you've clearly figured this out by now, but like Wax is still so in denial until like the very end of the whole scene. And it's
like he doesn't accept it.
No, not until she's properly dying in his arms does he accept that she's Leslie. And it's like, but you as the reader are like, this is clear. Like she's explaining it. She's like, no, Leslie never existed. I was always Palm the Condor. You know, like she's telling him, I was always a Condor, but the Condor who was playing, like she's spelling it out, but he's just not believing it. But like you as a reader are like, like it's dawning on you, and you're just like, oh no. And Wax is just still like, no.
See, I wrote when she said like, I was always Palm the Condor. I was like, you were Leslie too, bitch. You were
Leslie. Oh,
I said maybe I said, maybe you shouldn't have murdered so many people, but it's rough, so.
Yeah, it's rough.
Also, they're on, this is going to be such a weird reference for me to make, but the whole time they're having this, like, conversation, death scene, they're on, like, the scaffolding of, like, the very top part of a bridge, and I don't know if anyone watched the show Charmed, but all I could picture is in Charmed, there's, like, at the very top of, like, the bridge in San Francisco, Leo has meetings at, like, the very top of it in the clouds, and that's what I was picturing the whole time.
I feel that. Truly.
When they're having the fight, I was unclear why. So he shoots her with the bullet made out of his earring.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, so all that would have done is given Say's control.
Yes.
Yeah, because
So
it's the
did
second
Caesar
fight.
just instantly kill her as soon
No,
as he got
she
control?
chooses. She chooses. Like earlier in the book, Milan explains that like Kandra have figured out a way to like if they want to stop existing, they can kill themselves, and that's what she's doing. She's like, I won't let him have me. That's where she's like, she's raving as the earring is. She's like, he's trying to take me. I won't let him have me. I'm choosing to like die as myself, and she kills herself. Like she full on goes full suicidal Kandra because she doesn't want him to take control, and she gets it done before he can take control. So yeah, Saze doesn't kill her. Like Saze did not kill her. I mean, Saze made some bad choices along the line, considering Leslie Palm Bleeder. But in this moment, Saze wasn't the one pulling the plug.
Yeah, there's also a moment when Tensoon and Wax are in the catacombs where Tensoon mentions that like most of the earlier generations have chosen to die, and they're like two of the oldest Kandra that are left are him and Palm or Bleeder.
Yeah.
Does Marsh have friends? This is my question.
Does Marsh have friends? I don't think we ever see Marsh having friends on screen.
No on screen.
No way.
No. Marsh had acquaintances. I would be Marsh's friends.
I assume Sazen talks to him still?
Oh yeah, no, I assume I think we have like wobs on that like
he has so many
they're in
fights in him.
contact. Yeah, they can be chatting all day long. So it's like my only friend is God. And people think I'm the Grim Reaper.
It's fine. He's having a great life.
It's an interesting life to live. I mean, I really want to see more Marsh in this era. See what he's up to.
Oh, and while this is all happening with, Wax and them, they're also just having Milan dress up as the governor and try and like give a speech. And then like Aradel pulls a gun on her and like takes the side of the people. And it's just like a fun, ridiculous scene.
Yeah. Yep. I like that scene though so much though that Aradel's like, I can't like let you're such a terrible person. Like he doesn't know that it's Milan, like he still thinks it's the governor.
Yeah.
And if it had been the governor, aka Palm, like that scene would have gone very differently if it pulling a gun on her. Like it would have gone really differently. But
I think he would have ended up just shooting him. That's a weird question.
It is a weird question.
Is that like one of those spam people that shows up and like asks random questions?
Maybe.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, and then like after Bleeder dies, you have like Tensoon coming up to him like a few hours later while he's still like kneeling there with her body in his arms and being like confirming it for him.
So rough.
It's like
Is he a dog when he does this?
Yes, he is a dog. I'm pretty sure.
He's the dog, yeah.
Sometimes a dog walks up to you and confirms that your wife was a Kandra the whole time.
Yeah.
I stand by what I said on the Discord. I'd be well mad.
Yep.
I'd
be very upset.
We do get like that whole I do love in the epilogue at the party that's happening. Wax is just like in a corner and mostly everyone's leaving him alone. And he has like Wayne come over and try and like cheer him up and then just like kind of wander away.
Yeah, and like Marisai comes up to him, like all sorts of people keep just like coming up to him and talking to him and trying to like engage him.
It's only like Wax and Marisai. I mean,
well, I think it just like says that like I think it just like mentions other people had tried to talk, like engage him at the conflict.
But they just left him in his corner now. He's a corner man.
Oh God,
and then
I'm hearing a weird ringing because somebody's calling my phone. I'm on my phone right now. Decline. Okay, sorry. I was very confused. I hear doo. I'm like, where is this coming from?
I do like the first time we see Aradel after he's done that stunt. He's like, "Why did you guys let me do that?" And they're like, "We couldn't stop you." Like,
Yeah.
You just kind of
Also-
did it.
Where is?
And then there's the drop that Harmony doesn't know what the metal is.
Oh yeah.
Like, why couldn't he track her? Why couldn't he, like, do anything about it? And I put, the answer is another god. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, like that conversations that Milan has with Marissa when she's like,
Mhm.
you know, Harmony couldn't see Bleeder, couldn't track her, couldn't predict her. What could stop a god, Marissa Combs? Any guesses? And she's like, another god. And she's like, congratulations, you found proof of something that terrifies us. And I'm just like, dun dun dun. It's like so intense. I just love the line. It's like, what could stop a god? Another god. It's like nothing else. Another god. Oh yeah, so much. And then obviously on that same page, it's like Marissa, you know, remembering back to Miles at the end of Alloway and being like, who or what was Trell? So bringing that back in.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Yeah,
Are we ever gonna get answers about Trell?
Raffo.
I want you to know, I wrote a little thing after the end. I just wrote, tune in next month to answer the question of who is Trell? Haha, psych.
It's fine. It's fine. But also like that moment when Tensoon is explaining to like Wax that like Harmony specifically sent Lessie to Wax, like in the beginning, like it was always like Harmony's doing. It's just so interesting. Ugh, there's so much later there.
He's like, because he says like multiple times he's gonna be like, he's like hands off, but like he is not doing that very well.
No. Harmony's like, I'm neutral and I don't play favorites and I don't do, but also you are all pieces on the board and I am moving you. Like
Yeah.
when they say someone else moves us, Lawman, they weren't lying. He is kind of doing that. Like, yeah. And the fact that like it's implied that that like Lessie went crazy as Bleeder after Harmony like instructed her to die, like to have Wax kill her and to play dead, because that was Harmony's plan to get him to go back to Ellendale. Like it's implied that like that's what set her off. Like she didn't want to be his pawn anymore and pulled out her spikes. Like she went crazy because of that, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Because she really did love him.
I think it's so funny that like the end of Shadows of Self was basically Seiza just saying #just God things. She has to do all these things.
I know, right? Oh my god. So intense. It's just like oof.
I do like that we get to see Marissa use her powers more too.
Yeah,
Only
especially
like-
because like when we first hear about them, she thinks they're so useless, and then you actually see her using them in useful ways, which is nice.
Yeah. Does anyone have any more feelings?
Any more thoughts, feelings, questions?
Concerns?
My feelings are I love Steris because she's the only one who did the right thing at the end of this epilogue and was just sat with Wax and didn't say anything.
Just let him cry on her shoulder. As you do.
Yeah. It's just like such a sweet moment because it's like you see like Wayne coming up and Marisai coming up and they're all just like Wax is just so tuned out, like he's like, I can't deal with this right now, like I can't engage with you, I just need to like not. And then Steris is like the only one who gets that and just sits there and like lets him mourn. And it's like such a good moment because there are those times like when like you're in a deep depression and it's like you want someone there but like you need to be left alone in that same moment, and it's like that the right thing is to just be there and not that's all you need to do. And like the fact that Steris gets that, it's like I love her. I love Steris. It's fine, I'm fine.
Well, fine. Does anyone have any thoughts about what we're going to see in Bands of Mourning?
Yes, Spence, you don't get to talk about this because you've already read Bands of Mourning.
Oh, I have one call I'm going to make, actually. Speaking of calls. At the end, where it has the chart of what all the metals do,
Yes.
and there's the one metal that says it stores identity.
Yes.
I feel
that's
like
the
the
thing.
way they're going to use that is like a Time Lord pocket watch.
Okay.
That's my guess.
I see where you're going with this.
Like it stores somebody's memory of who they were in the past, and they put it on, and it's like, boom, I remember who I am now.
Interesting.
Like Doctor Who. Okay.
Exactly like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting.
Okay.
I won't say anything about identity, but it's interesting. It's an interesting.
There is the word investiture on that chart as well, which I still don't know what that means. So
you don't have to wait long.
I know.
I will say you're gonna get a nice like proper explanation of that word very soon. Yeah, which is it's just nice because it's just like even I'm still a little confused sometimes when I think too hard about it. Oh my god,
it's real intense.
There's just so much. There's so much.
I'm gonna assume it's not a different meaning than what the word investiture literally means in our world. Yes.
There's
similar.
There's layers. Yes, obviously, but like there's layers to like what is going on with that within like the magic systems.
If you see it in a Cosmere book, it's a capital I investiture.
If you ever see a word in a Cosmere book that seems to be a normal word but it's capitalized, there's a reason for that. Like you might see a word, for example, connection. If it's capitalized, it's important. If you see the word identity and it's capitalized, it's important.
Yeah, like
any normal looking word but it's capitalized, it's important.
I'm gonna make a guess. I'm gonna make a guess about what investiture is.
Okay.
Okay, so in the real world, investiture is basically like literally investing in royalty, more or less. And all the people that became Mistborn became nobles. I think investiture is giving people magic. That's all I got. Or just literally giving them money. I will take money or magic.
Invest me with your money, please.
Katrina will accept payment in money or magic, as we all will.
It's like, I will take either. These are my options, nothing less. Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, we will come back to the conversation of investiture after Bands of Mourning and Secret History. Also, for everyone watching, after you read Bands of Mourning, it is important to read Secret History. It's not one of the novellas that you can skip. You have to read it. It's very important, but only after Bands of Mourning. I will fight you if you read it before.
It spoils.
It spoils something at the end of Bands of Mourning, but also it will answer some questions. It'll make some things more clear. Gives context for things that you might be wondering why they weren't explained previously.
It's
kind of fun.
It gives you some secret history.
It might just give you some secret history. I wonder why it's called that. So yes, we will be reading both next month. You can get Secret History as like its own like ebook, but also it is in Arcanum Unbounded. If any of you have got Arcanum,
and it's pretty short. It's not that long.
I think it's like in Arcanum. I think it's like right around 200 pages, less than 200 pages, 160, 180. It's somewhere in that range. It's not super long. But yeah, you'll want to read it right after Band. So we will be discussing that in the live show. So make sure you read it because we're not going to be holding back. It's important.
Is it in the Arcanum?
It is an Arcanum, yeah. So if you have Arcanum Unbounded, it's in there. It's in there.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yes.
Do we want to do trivia questions? Because now I feel like we're running.
We're on 2.5 hours. This might be one of our longest live shows. We're discussing 2 books, so I knew this was going to run longer. It'd have been sad if this had been like an hour-and-a-half long live show when we're talking about 2 books, even though they're short books. Okay. Do we want to do trivia or the art memes first?
Trivia. Okay,
let me find my trivia. Where's my trivia? Hang on a second. Also, I think we actually discussed a lot of things that these trivia questions are about, so you'll probably do good. I think I did 5 questions specifically from Alloy and 5 from Shadows.
I'm not going to take part because we did discuss almost all of these questions.
Yeah, I think you know all of them. Okay. Oh wait, no, this isn't. This was when I had to rewrite them because they were out of order. Okay, sorry. Okay. Question number 1: who does Wayne pretend to be when we first meet him? Oh, Casey's gone.
Oh, it's Wax's uncle.
Yes, Wax's uncle. Question number 2: how many men did Wax bring down in the fight at the wedding?
16.
It was 16. Oh, 16. What kind of allomancer is Marisai? Like the actual title of her power. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I had to look it up because I didn't remember, so it's okay if
not. Wasn't Crawler?
Her metal is cadmium. Is that right? Her power is called. She's called a pulsar. Or what her metal is. Yeah, I had to look it up. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't remember that. I did not remember that. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, number 4. What are the names of Suit's henchmen that Miles has to bring with him, like the end of Alloy?
Push and pull.
Push and pull. It's my favorite thing. Oh yeah, Josh knew that one, Pulsar. Look at you showing off. I didn't know. I can look it up when I wrote the question.
Max just finished the books and they're doing so well.
Right.
Yeah.
Who from Era 1 is Wax directly descended from?
Breeze.
Breeze and Alrian. Number 6. What are the Convra called in this era?
Faceless Immortals.
There you go. The Faceless. I love that. The Faceless Immortals. What is Tensoon's historical title?
Guardian, isn't it?
Yes, he's the Guardian. I fucking love it. It's only mentioned like once, so I thought that was a good question.
Ooh.
The Guardian. Okay, right. Who wrote the book that Iron Eyes gave to Marisai?
Oh, Spook.
Did you come back with a new hat? Yes, Spook, the Lord Mistborn. He wrote the book. What is the name of the daughter of the man Wayne killed when he was 16?
No idea.
Casey got me this question because I was running out of questions, so blame Casey for the hardness of this one. I actually don't know how to say this name. It's like it's Alriandra. It's like got a D in it. It's like she's basically, it sounds like she's named after Alrian, from old times. But it's like Alriandra.
It sounds like she's named after Alrian and Beldra.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, she's the Renesmee.
Yeah, I think that's why I wanted that question, because her name is so fun.
Oh, see, I was trying to figure out how to say it. If I had realized that, I could have figured out how to pronounce it. Okay, that's really funny. I didn't actually think of that. I just assumed she was just named after Alrian, and it was just like a twist on Alrian. But that makes so much sense. Oh my God. Okay, what was written all over the torn up pages of the Words of Founding that Wax and Tensoon find?
Lies.
Lies. Written in blood, presumably.
Yeah.
Good times. And then a bonus question for you. This is the last question. It's a bonus question. What different religions do we see and hear about people practicing in Era 2?
Trellist, Passists,
Survivorists.
and Survivors.
And there's a mention of Sliverism, which is the line of the Yeomans who still, apparently they revere Iron Eyes because, remember in Era 3, Yeoman was like, the Lord Ruler is gone, I will worship him forever. I guess he passed that down his line, because it literally says that the Yeomans worship, or they practice Sliverism, and then it's like, imagine revering Iron Eyes himself, which I fucking love that line. But yeah, so those are the religions we know of, is the Path, Survivorism, Sliverism, and Trellism.
Wait, Bree, there's another one.
There is?
Yeah, it's, hold on. There's Doxythelium.
Oh my God. Oh right, I forgot about that. Oh my. That's really
And
funny.
Wax just talks about how much he doesn't like it.
Yeah.
Like how it's very proper and stuff.
All right. That's
Like Dachshund? Are they all just like a bunch of administrators?
Yes, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what it is.
I think that is what it is. Yeah, I think it's literally like that's exactly what it is, I believe. I forgot about it because it's mentioned like once briefly.
But it's hilarious.
Yeah. Alrighty.
It's mentioned like very, very briefly, but
It's literally like one line just
it has
randomly in
the
there.
most ridiculous spelling of anything I've ever seen in my entire life.
I don't even know if I tabbed it. Ugh.
I'm
All
sure
right.
there was something else weird like that.
I mean, there might have been the main religions, I should say, that people practice are the Path, Survivorism, and well, I wouldn't say Trellism is the main one or Sliverism, but they're mentioned.
I feel like Trell is the main one. It's a main problem, okay?
We don't even know. The problem.
Oh man.
It's fine. Okay, do we want to do art and memes and stuff? And then after that, I will pull the giveaway winner, which I got to figure out how to do because I was going to do that on my phone, but now I'm on my phone. So you pull up art and I will do this differently.
All right. Let me close that so I don't get confused.
It's old school. It's fine.
You know, always confused, but you know what I mean. This one. Okay, we're gonna do art first. There's a bunch of art. First, we start with the status.
Starting off strong with Wax and Leslie. I will say this art is incorrect because it shows him with an earring in his ear, but that's literally in Leslie's head right now. So the artist messed up there. But yeah.
He could have
I was trying to find like any art of Leslie at all was really hard. So, or just like Palm. And this
Is
was,
she
like,
described? Like Leslie?
I think in one of the flashbacks she's described as Leslie, but I don't remember what she looked like.
I know her legs are described, but
She's got nice legs. Bitch got some legs.
there's a little Marisai.
Yes.
Her gun is huge. Sorry, it just looks so big in her little hand.
She's so cute.
Oh, dramatic as fuck. The coats just look so silly.
Yeah.
they do.
That's a
That's
good
him with
Yeah,
Miles,
that's cool.
yeah. Fighting Miles.
Oh,
It's a good one.
sounds good.
Marissa Wax. Marissa. I wonder how many people are annoyed by how Casey and I say her name.
Milan.
Oh, that's Milan. It's supposed to be showing like the translucent stuff.
Yeah.
Wax. I think that's one of my favorite waxes. But I love all her art. That's why.
Yeah.
All of her portraits are like this. It's Renette.
Oh, I imagine Renette much older, like 40s.
Yeah, it's hard to tell in art.
I mean,
Like,
she
people
could
are
be in her 40s. She'd just be looking fine.
True.
She's just not lying. This wax looks like a child.
He is. He's a baby face. I fucking honestly, I love that art of Wax though. Like, or, wait, you said Wax again, and you threw me
Damn it.
off. Damn it.
But is it supposed to be like a younger Wayne?
Not really. I don't think so. She did that portrait with all the others, so. Marissa. Renette again. Steris. My babe. I love Steris.
She's always
Milan.
drawn, by the way, in this like blue color.
She's literally always drawn in like a
The
blue.
fandom has just agreed she's always in this color.
Always in blue. I like it.
I think
I
because of the cover and
Milan. Yeah, she's wearing blue on the cover of Vans, yeah. Milan, and then after that you should see the other version of Milan with the bones shining through. Bones! Okay. Ah, sorry.
Why does he are those pitchforks?
No, those are his dueling canes. I had to stare at that for a minute too because like I think it's just like the handle of the dueling cane. Because it's just
Yeah,
like
it
cheap.
looks like they have
But
a
it
dog
looks
that goes
weird.
over
I
it.
literally stared and I was like, he looks like a farmer standing next to it. And I was like, oh, those got to be his dueling canes. I see.
Man, love Farmer Wayne. What is he holding?
A gun?
Is that a machine gun?
I
sniper.
think it's just like a big rifle.
No, it's too
Very
bulky to
stylized
be a
art.
sniper.
Yeah, that's like a Tommy gun.
I don't know. And that's
Yeah,
supposed
that's what
to
I was
be.
gonna say. A Tommy gun.
Oh, maybe that last one is supposed to be Palm Bleeder with like a mask.
Oh,
That's like the
with
art that they used for one of the graphic audios. I could not find any art of that bitch. I was trying to find like art for as Leslie, as Palm Bleeder. There's not a lot of art. It's a missed opportunity.
Mm.
It's just like the marksman mask.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be the marksman mask. Oh, the grapple gun. That's what Josh said. He thinks that was a grapple gun in that art.
Oh, but I thought the grapple gun was just him with like a rope and a hook.
I don't think that was a gun. Like he wouldn't need a gun for that because he can just push it.
Yeah. I got confused for a second. Sorry.
You gotta go to the memes. Did you add the other memes? Okay.
Wayne and Alloy Blah. I am once again asking for my hat back.
Also, Casey, you did verify that the ones you added were not spoiled for bands, right? Because I didn't check them. Okay.
Leader, Leslie, Harmony needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. Wax, they're the same picture.
Although he doesn't admit it till the end.
Yeah.
Wayne is Wax's uncle. Marisai, burning cadmium. Whoa, this is worthless. Nobody. Wayne changing disguises for the 20th time.
It's true. Oh my gosh.
Shoot a gun or draw 25. Wayne draws 25.
Oh, that's good.
This onion won't make me cry. The onion, you killed your wife twice.
Oh.
It's hard. Like all the memes are just about Leslie.
Miles starts compounding. Wax and the rest of the crew chuckles. I'm in danger. Wayne, when he realizes that the governor's accent is slightly off.
This is it. This is the meme.
Era
Okay,
1 Myth
so-
Cloak, Era 2 Myth Cloak, Era 3 Myth
The
Cloak.
joke about this is because the tassels get lower each time. It's like the tassels start here in Era 1 and then they start like here in Era 2. So it's like, well, they're starting at the booty, right? Like they gotta be booty cloaks. So like it brings me
also
to
the
every time I
80s.
see this, I cackle so much. Just imagine.
It's also going to be the
I
80s,
assume-
so everyone's going to
okay,
be in booty shorts.
But if this was the actual progression of the clothes like that, it's just like the tassels got lower and lower, then like Era 4 they just have to have like mist socks or something. Like, you know what I mean?
Mist
like
boots.
mist
Yeah,
boots.
mist boots.
Yes, mist boots. Oh, this brings me true joy. I don't know who
Brie
made
has
this, but it brings me
sent
so much joy.
multiple times. It's
Every
amazing.
time I see it again, I've forgotten about it, and it washes over me again, and I just get a good joy out of it.
It's real good.
A good time.
I double my wife's age. I almost triple it. Amateurs. What was that, Puck? Amateur.
She's an old bitch.
She is. Independent warrior exists. Renette when naming awesome new firearms. Vindication. Miles kills a man at a party. Wax gets involved. Miles. I do love that he is just so surprised by this.
I know.
It's like, bitch, what did you think was gonna happen?
I know, right?
I will say the ones I added, I stole from one of the groups, one of the like Instagrams that Eli like reposts from. So thanks, Eli. Shout out to Eli.
Yeah. When we're low on memes, we go and just like stalk the Instagram that you run.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for running your Cosmere memes Instagram. We appreciate it.
Shout out. Should start just linking that in the description as well because we're stealing a lot of memes from there.
Don't click
It's
on
true.
it unless you're fully caught up, though.
Oh yeah, that's true. Don't go there unless you're
The
Cosmere.
Rhythm of War spoilers.
Constantly.
Constantly.
Constantly. Okay, now am I doing the giveaways that we're at? Okay. Since I can't use my phone for this because I do the wheel on the phone, I wrote down all the people who entered on a piece of paper, and now I'm just gonna shuffle them. This is risky. More risky that I don't know what's on this. I don't know who's gonna win, and it is Haley.
Whoa.
Oh, my camera's way down here now. Woo! My phone. Haley, you won one of our giveaways. She's not watching because she hasn't finished shadows yet.
He's not here.
That's
We
okay.
know.
She'll get a good surprise. We could just not tell her until she watches this back, because I know she'll watch it back. I'll tell her.
You should probably
Haley
tell her.
won the giveaway. That's nice. Haley entered it like this morning.
I think Haley's entered like all of them.
She's been entering them ever since she's like started like reading. I don't think she entered like the first one. I don't think she entered Final Empire, but she's been entering since Mistborn.
There's only a few people left that have been entering like consistently and haven't won.
Exactly.
Hopefully
I'm
they'll
hoping we hit all the people who've been consistently entering because we're slowly ticking them off. So we got a couple months left. We'll get there.
Has anyone ever doubled up or no?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet, but there have been like obviously people have entered multiple times, so it's bound to happen. Because like there's less and less people are entering, so the odds are going higher and higher for double up for the people who are still entering. I imagine it'll happen.
Let's see.
Yeah. Is there anything else? Any final thoughts or questions? Anything from the chat? Anything at all? My phone. I keep looking for my phone and I'm on my phone.
I do that all the time.
Maybe I'll just cash out and get a new laptop before next month's live show. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe.
You're gonna want one before Stormlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have many a thought on Way of Kings.
I'm excited.
That I will say that's gonna be a long one. I think
I will
all
say,
the Stormlight ones are gonna be long ones.
There's not that many people who are like entering anymore, so like I'm not gonna not like let somebody double up because not that many people are entering. So
Oh yeah, people's ratings.
people's ratings for Shadows of Self. Oh yeah, 5. There's no point in asking me. I think every single Cosmere book I've rated is a 5, except for like White Sand.
Yeah, me too.
So,
Probably.
I think they've all been 4s for me except for Warbreaker,
really?
which was 5.
I
Interesting.
mean
Wait,
I
I
don't
thought
want
you rated Elantris.
Actually, no,
5.
yeah, sorry, Elantris, not Warbreaker. It was Elantris.
Right. Okay.
I don't want to get your hopes too high, but I think there's a possibility bands will get a 5 from you.
Okay.
Possibility. You seem to be really
And-
enjoying it too, so it takes it
Yeah.
to a new level. It does amp it up a bit, and then you get to sit there and you get to finish bands, and then you get to sit there and realize how long we've been waiting for Lost Metal, and then you get to realize you don't have to wait that long.
Only like a little bit over a year.
Yeah, Max, Bands is still my favorite Cosmere novel, so
Okay.
High praise.
And you've started Stormlight as well, haven't you?
I
Yeah.
have, yeah.
So Bands is even
On
better
Words
than
of
Stormlight.
Radiance.
Vance is still my favorite.
I know Max didn't give the Condor book a 5-star.
The Kandra get a 5-star.
They get a 5-star.
They
get a
always get a
5-star.
God, that was the worst thing to happen to the Contra.
But Milan is there.
Yeah.
Oh, she's pretty great. I like her.
And Tensoon's still kicking. I don't know if we're gonna like how much more that Tensoon will be involved, but Milan's around.
I feel like we can
Milan.
confirm that Milan is around.
Yeah.
I don't know if she has any more guns in her tits, but I assume she does.
I don't remember. I just genuinely,
I assume we're
I
always
started reading
there.
Bands of Mourning and I read half of Bands, so I'm like, I remember the first half of Bands now because I just reread it. And I was like, I should probably stop before the live show so I don't get my plot points confused.
Mm.
It was really funny because like Spence was reading ahead of everybody, right? It's like how much I don't remember like where things happened in Era 2. I remembered Alloy pretty well because it's much more condensed story. It happens in like a day. And I've reread Alloy like I think 3 times or 4 times now. But like Shadows and Bands, I think I'd read once before this, maybe twice. I don't remember. But I didn't remember where things happened. I remember big plot points. I don't remember where they happened. I remember when Spence was like got to the end of the Shadows Discord's channels and was like, oh shit, and I was like sitting there trying to remember what the fuck happened at the end of Shadows. And I turned to my boyfriend. I'm like, Justin, how does Shadows end? He just looks at me and he gets this look like so judgmental, and he was like, Lessie? And I was like, oh yeah, Lessie, that bitch died twice. And I was like, that's what happens. He's like, how did you just forget that? I was like, I just didn't remember where it happened. I didn't forget. But it was just like, it was so funny. It was just like the look of judgment on his face when he was like, God had him kill his wife twice, you know? Kind of hard to miss.
You told me that, and I was like, Brianna?
Sorry. I haven't. Listen, I'm going to be rereading Era 2 again before Lost Metal next year, so I'll definitely get it locked in the memory banks after this, probably.
I've
We'll
read
see.
them like so many times.
You've read them more than me. I read everything else more than you.
It's fair.
Quite a lot. It's fine.
Do we have any other thoughts?
I will say we have not picked a date for next month's live show, but it will be one of the last weekend days of the month. It'll be the Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. Probably the Friday since that's what we normally do, but we'll have to get with everybody to see what we're doing. But it'll be at the end of the month next month, and we will try to sort that out very soon so that you guys can plan for it. And I can also plan for it. Everybody can plan for it. And next, like I said, next month we are reading Bands of Mourning and Mistborn Secret History. After Bands, we will be talking spoilers of Secret History in the live show, so make sure you read it. It's important. But
I will
Very
say
excited.
Bands is next month.
we will try and separate the spoilers
Yeah.
again like we did this time.
Yeah, we'll talk about Bands when we get to the end of Bands, and then the thing that's like that leads into Secret History. Then we'll move into Secret History, and we'll let you know when. So if there's people who haven't read it yet, we'll let you know in the live show when we're gonna jump into that. So you'll be safe, but you don't want that. You don't want that spoiled for you. You don't want those spoilers.
I would still be cautious.
I'm really excited for next month's live show just because I think we're gonna have some hot takes. I don't know who's gonna bring the hot takes, but I think there's gonna be hot takes, and I'm excited.
We love hot takes.
Yeah, it'll be good. So yeah, I think that's everything. Thank you everybody for joining us. I know this was almost a 3-hour live show, so if anybody actually stuck around for the whole thing, thank you. And if you didn't, I understand. It was a long one, but I hope you enjoyed it. Anybody who's watching this back after the fact, I hope you had fun. And we will see you guys next month. Be sure to join the Discord if you're not already in the Discord. Link will be in the description down below. You can hop in and join with us at any time. Pick and choose what you want to read. Max will bring the hot takes, probably.
Well,
that's what I'm expecting.
well.
Like, I've predicted some Max hot takes coming up. But I could be wrong. Or I could, like, Max could have hot takes, which not the ones I thought they were going to be. You know what I mean? Like, but I think I'm right about at least one of them. We'll see. I got to have my, like, Max predictions list.
Gotta get the bingo board out.
I know, right? I never finished that bingo board. It was a shame.
And also make sure to follow and subscribe to all of our co-hosts. If their links aren't in the description, we will add them in a minute.
They should be, but I just don't remember if I did. I normally do it as I schedule the live show, so I'm assuming past me was in control and did it. But if they're not there, I'll add them. And yeah, so yeah, stay posted in the Discord and on the Twitter. We'll let you know when the next live show is going to be very soon. Bye, everybody. Bye.
I'm ending it.